from the beginning. So we landed at the Tempelhof Airport and had a skirmish or a scrimmage or a capture the flag session or whatnot in the hangar there, and got approved by the local police department to operate in Berlin, at least on your initial investigation. You'd taken the subway over to Schlesier's Tor and walked across the Oberbaumbrücke. That was where we had the fight with the comedians, that one gang. And then on to Copernicus Strasse, where you interviewed the wife of Merton Markart, who has been missing for the past few days. You had gone to the police station to check in, then back and followed his commute from here in Fredericksheim over to the Berlin Institute of Technology, checked out the head building as well as the which was it, the Hermann Fritiger Gebäude, the Hermann Fritiger Science Building, and found signs of what looked like a kidnapping. And in fact, in the laboratory there, we had a fight. So you'd gone into the lab, we're checking it out, and it turned out there was an assassin or something of sorts there, hanging up in the machinery. Metamorph took a bad hit and went down, and the rest of you were able to pull it off and eventually subdue what ended up being a her. That she went by Viper, but was this person, the Samantha Klauberg, who had worked for a local biker gang led by this guy, Thomas Steinauer, or Tower Tom, and that they were the ones that had kidnapped Merton in that laboratory, and she was the ones who were left behind over the weekend to watch for anyone like you coming to investigate it and either try to take care of clues or take care of you if needs be. But you pretty much literally got her into a corner and had beaten her down quite a bit. And she hadn't necessarily been treated all that well by the gang and was a bit too smart for them in any case. So through some talking, you're able to convince her to kind of turn sides and give up all the information about that gang and everything that she knew about the kidnapping for preferential treatment and easier bit of a sentence. Blue Suit in particular tried to convince her to kind of come to the good guy's side, put her literal talents to a better use. You had checked in back at the police station again. Up here. Back to the police station in Alexanderplatz, as well as staying in your hotel just off of that. Before heading northeast into Prenzlauer Berg, which is kind of your bohemian bar and theater district, or well, art house kind of district. And there had a fight at Rosie's bar. So this was a series of streets. That's what it all ended up looking like. The bar was owned by Rosie Ivanschutz, who's not part of the gang, but sort of liked the anti-establishment, rough and tumble lifestyle. And
Ogre. Isn't he from Ogre from?
Yeah, that's the actor. Where's the name? Rosie's. The Steinadler Motorrad Club, the Golden Eagle Motorcycle Club. So he owned the bar, and Tom and his guys sort of operated out of there. From what Viper had said, they nabbed Merton, but then took him directly to the place who's going to take the handoff. And then they were just going to lay low for a couple of weeks. So they weren't going back to their normal garage or normal homes and whatnot. But they did still come back to their local biker bar to get liquored up and talk shit. And you all staked the place out and were able to nab a couple of the guys, including Tower Tom himself. Took all of them back to the police station where you interrogated them and got from them that the place that they had been taken was this nightclub called the A7 Club, which actually had been the lead you found in the airfield back in Vienna as being one of the local Kerkers syndicate contacts, or this Hannah Fedor operating out of this nightclub was the local Berlin contact facilitating getting the source of the langsam drug down to Vienna for processing. And that ended up being the same location they took Merton. So now it's evening, coming up on around 8 p.m. The nightclub is going to be open and ramping up to full service. The amount of evidence that you have, as I said, is not quite enough to get a search warrant of this place. But you are free to go and investigate. And obviously, anything probable cause or a little, with your own discretion, the amount of investigation you're going to do. Hey there, Lars. Just still summing up the everything in the past.
Hey, sorry I'm late.
No worries. Check out the place. See if you can find Merton and rescue him if need be. Making any other arrests as needed or possible. So again, I mean, that's the whole scope everywhere we've been in Berlin, and it really turns out this A7 club is really just down the street, either intentionally or coincidentally, from the presidium, the police headquarters you've been operating out of. If we go into the satellite view here, the building, the streets. This is the building. As you can see, it's a multi-tenant, multi-story building. But at its base, it has this wide two-story floor base. Pretty much this whole section, which juts out, as well as a little bit of these two floors, is the club. Around the rest of the building are pretty much just stores and other businesses that have just storefronts, and then there's one main entrance on this side, which goes up to office buildings up top. But for this portion, you'll be dealing with this section here. And if we drop our little guy, so here you can see there's the big building up top. Pretty much this section right here is going to be the bulk of the nightclub, with just a few, maybe a room or two here. These two floors all around. The main entrance is here, sort of where you're all walking in, and obviously it's going to look a bit different. There's not so much construction and whatnot going on here. But this will be essentially the night's investigation is checking out this nightclub. So before we actually literally move in, and again, here's the sort of overall view. So here's a silhouette of the second, the two-story pieces, and then the multi-story bit. Here's north would be to the top left corner. And then this will be the first floor, and then the second floor of the structure. And I have plates to remove as stuff gets revealed. Let's see. We are down. And I switched to the German names for this one. And so, I mean, I'm starting off with you here, and this is a scale for roughly for movement. And I'll go through the description of the place as we get up to it. But before we actually go on site, is there anything anyone wanted to do, any questions that they had, or stuff that they wanted to research, or anything else before we get into actually checking the place out?
So those guys gave us no intel at all. They just told us where it was, and they're not going to give anything else up, right?
Yeah. So you all at interrogate, you had varying levels of success with the different guys, but one of the bits that did came out was definitely a limited. Kind of everybody's been limited in the information that they had. Like the whole gang knew that they were kidnapping some guy, but none of them really knew who he was, other than he just worked at some college. And Tom was the only one who actually knew the outfit who was hiring them. So even Viper wasn't able to tell you too much. Even when you found them and interrogated them, they said, "Oh, this is the location they drove to." As far as everyone else, they handed them off to the local thugs here. They didn't go and see the building again, except for Tower Tom, who had gone into the office of the Hannah Fedor, who ran the place. And that was the one bit he did say, was that while she was kind of a small, petite, not a young woman, but woman, not physically imposing, where he is like 6'8". He had that encounter with her when he tried to press her for more money and he found he couldn't move, and there was like a spider crawling across him, and he couldn't flick it away or do anything. And then she just like got up on top of him with this letter opener and just kind of playing with it, and he was just absolutely terrified of her despite her size. So I mean, he might even not even know the character Syndicate. He just knows Hannah Fedor and this place is where they dropped the guy off at, and the local guys pulled him inside. So it's not like he knows what room he's in or how long he's been there. Well, I mean, I guess he knows how long he's been there, like roughly when he dropped them off, which was pretty much the same day as the kidnapping. So I guess that would have been Friday. So it's now Tuesday evening. And well, unless they moved him, you presume he's been here since Friday.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and then as far as I said, it was only enough. It's enough evidence for you to go in and use your investigative skills. You basically can't just roll in with a search warrant. You can't say, "Hey, I'm the police. You need to take me to all your rooms." The place that owns the club has a very powerful lawyer, someone who's plugged into the local scene, and plays golf with the mayor regularly. So, you can kind of go in undercover and check the place out, and you can try doing some underhanded stuff like sneaking into back rooms and things like that. You just can't use your, fall back on your police. Like, this is a raid, kick the doors down. Basically,
It would be nice if we had a metamorph. That would be nice.
I don't know. In Eddie's game, we always joked that there was a curse about us not being able to play because someone always was never able to play. We always played only if everyone was available. I think this game, the curse is whoever person can't play, that's the person you need. The last session was the second half, basically finishing off the fight at Rosie's and then the interrogation, and we were missing both Eddie and Mike Scott, so we had no influence, no mind drudging, and everyone just beat their heads like, I don't know, can I shoot my lightning at him and get him to talk, or some other method. So yeah, that's our curse. You never always have the person you need on hand.
So my thought
I don't know. The first fight, I think the metamorph wasn't there. Oliver Ramos was there. So you were light on like fisticuffs. You were light on the tough guys, and then the second half, Taylor stepped in and replaced Eddie, and he was the tough guy, and then he got immediately knocked out. I rolled a natural 20, and then I rolled another natural 20, and then I think the die 8 exploded too. It was like a 57, and Taylor just went down hard, and it was like 2 fights in a row for the kid. So I kind of incorporated my own rule that no matter what the dice does, I'm not going to do that to anyone. No one of you can go down if none of the others have been down, or Taylor just keeps check-offing it every time.
I don't know. So my suggestion is we would just go to the club and case the place. I guess we're not doing an assault. We're just trying to figure out if we can find some way to, I don't know, manipulate the situation. I mean, I know Eddie can go invisible, so.
Yeah, and if you do find evidence, nefarious things going on, or you do have, I don't know, arrest warrants for some of these individuals, so you can, if it's something turns up or someone pulls a gun on you, it's not like, well, I guess we gotta. No, you can act on that. You just can't. You can't have the whole police department roll up, kick the doors down, because otherwise we wouldn't have a story.
Right.
So.
That's my vote.
All right.
I bet I could skip that line if I wanted to. Walk right up. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, well, that'll sort of be the challenge, as it were.
Yeah, I think we should kind of go in low key undercover and scope it out. I think that makes sense.
And so this is pretty much the only entrance. The intel for the building, they did say there is this back door, kind of a stage door, but it's one of those, they're panels which can come out, but there's really no door handles. There's nothing to pick. It's all bar locked from the inside. And beside it kind of opens up roughly on where the dance floor is anyway. So if you open the door, it'll set off alarms and stuff. And, the recommendation was to just try to go in as people, because I mean they're letting people in constantly trying to make money, so just be some of those people.
We should.
So it is the evening of Tuesday, July 10th, 1934. It is still summertime It's warm out, nice and breezy. It's not too humid or hot. It's basically a pretty nice night out, and it'd be a nice night out in the town, and that seems to be what everyone is doing. After the Rosie's bar fight, you did the arrest and investigation. Oh, there it is, right there. The Cyanide Motorrad Club. The members were charged with kidnapping. The members of the gang were charged with kidnapping, resisting arrest, public endangerment. That bartender 22 and the biker number 35 were both charged with attempted murder of a police officer. The remaining fighters, just the general brawlers, were charged with assault, resisting arrest, and interfering with investigation. All the motorcycles were impounded, although Rosie's bar was compensated for the damages to try to improve relations. And while he's not quite an informant, the way the conversations went with him towards the end turned him positive. So, say Marin isn't here and you've got to check something out or look for some other lead for this or anything else, that is a place you could go to for information. Although you probably don't want to walk in with your badges out because it'd make Rosie look bad. So the next step would be to investigate the nightclub. You walk from the police station. As I said, it's pretty much just around the corner and down the street. And as you're walking there at night, it's plenty dark out. You see on the street, it's a good thing you're not driving, is pretty much every parking spot on the street is taken. The pale blue glow of neon in the distance can be seen, as well as spotlights shining up into the air with their beams swirling overhead. As the building comes close into view, and I'll put up roughly what she looks like. Da-da-da. As the building comes in the view, along the top sides of the building are long neon, like blue neon threads curling up and around, almost looking like surf on the top of the ocean. On the roof, on the second story, is a neon sign with the overlapping characters A and 7 for the A7 Club. The capital letter A is stylized like a darting fish, and the number 7 is stylized like a fish hook through the center of the A, with a white neon light streaming down to the bottom of the sign like a fishing line descending below, almost as though it's catching a fish in the air and pulling it under the ocean. All the windows that you see are dark blue and you can't see through them very clearly, although you can occasionally catch glimmers of a faint blue light coming out, almost like you're looking into the wall of an aquarium. The entrance area has two doors, flanked by two plants that look like algae growing up from the ground. The front door is covered by a red velvet rope between two very imposing looking bouncers. Yeah,
I would totally go to that place.
yeah, it's kind of Enchantment of the Sea dance, but for adults, or maybe a little better. So this is your rough outside with your main door, the plants, the bouncers. There's your red velvet carpet, and roughly the number of patrons lined up and a 30-foot movement for scale. I just kind of threw you down on the board, but you can let me know how you want to stand, where you want to go, if you want to go somewhere else, if you want to run to the front of the line, stand in line, attack the bouncers, ride the bouncers, do kind of however you want to go.
Yellow and green, is that male, female?
So maybe roughly green, it would be a safer bet of them not being a threat, whereas yellow potentially could be a threat.
Okay.
But honestly, for the ones in the line here, they're not even numbered because it's that if there's anything to happen here, most of them would probably scatter.
So
I basically numbered absolutely everybody else in the club, but when I wanted to add the lines, I'm like, I'm not adding the number because I'd have to look up all the numbers I was using. They're not going to attack. So
I understand this is the 1930s, so this isn't the 80s where it's like fast track the women in. But who knows if it was like that back then? I don't know. Like there's times change, so I don't. So I'm gonna go with kind of my thought that it's the patrons that are lit in based upon their.
Yeah, I guess I would say just being adults in this world and probably having gone out and stuff, it is roughly the same. So there are still fire codes where they can only let so many people in at a time. but then there's also clubs being pretentious and that you know how if you pretend that it's a scarce commodity, people want it more. So that the maybe the fire code is 100 people and they'll only let in 80 to try to make it feel like it's popular. Like they want a line of people outside. That happens. And I would also say the ratio of guys to girls, that would probably still happen then. So they would probably let in more girls than guys just to keep it, so it's not sausage party.
Right.
But also, yeah, they're gonna probably let prettier girls in
So
easier.
I'm gonna play my wealth. So I'm gonna play to my wealth and the fact that I have a step up. I'm gonna turn to Alma Dieter and Oliver Ramos and say, well, I'm gonna turn to everyone, but I'm gonna say, Alma, you and me, like we're a couple. Oliver, follow behind Invisible so that you can slip in behind us because we're moving or opening doors or whatever. I'm going to bribe the bouncers or give the bouncers a significant amount of cash since I have it, and I'm going to turn to Blitzman and Shooting Star and say, "You're on your own, guys." Because I'm sure I can't bribe them to get us all in, and it would look weird. But if I can do it and get 3 of us in, it makes more sense.
Does that mean I have to be a couple with Speedy over there? Jeez.
In the 30s, it probably get you killed. I don't know. I don't know how it runs.
Don't know how
Very
Germany was
intolerant back then.
When I'm going to this, I'm dressed. I know it's a dressy club, so I'm dressed to the nines because I have all those connections with my father's clothing store, and he's a top-notch clothing person. So I'm dressed to the nines, and I'm gonna name drop.
Sure. So what I'm going to attempt to do, Kurt, is skip the line. That's my attempt. If Alma's in for being the date and Oliver's willing to follow, that is my thought process. Skip the line, drop, whatever at the time the price is. I'm saying 50 marks, but God, I mean, sure, that's way more.
Yeah, I was looking it up and it literally said it. I just can't find it. Oh yeah. Wealth represents influence. Since players aren't tracking individual gold pieces, dollars, or gems, situations like bribery might initially prove a bit sticky. But a good guideline is that a character can use money to influence someone the same way they use their wealth store to purchase goods. So characters can easily bribe NPCs with a lower wealth score. So like your wealth is 4, if his wealth is 2, you could easily bribe him, and there's not even an amount. You can just say that's going to happen. I mean, you probably still want to do some kind of presence or persuasion or deception or something along with it, but if you have the money, I mean, really, almost any one of you with a wealth score of 3, I'm doubting bouncers are going to make a heck of a lot of money.
Sure. I just I'm pulling the whole Bruce Wayne kind of thing.
Yeah. If the recipient of the bribe has the same wealth score as the character, then it would be considered a quote major expense, which means that it can be done, but the expense taxes resources. I mean, they kind of do that with everything. So if whatever your wealth level is, if you want to buy something of that wealth level, you can, but only once per 2 weeks, like per paycheck. Whereas if it's anything under, you just buy it all day long. You don't have to worry about it. I mean, in a way, you could game the system by like, well, I want to buy the cheaper one. I'm going to buy 500 of them, sell them, and then make enough money to buy the big one. That doesn't work that way. So you have enough money that you could probably throw them a few bills, or you could try to do a convincing thing or a sneak thing.
I could roll my new presence score, but yeah, no, I told you my intent. If the others are willing to play, that'll get 3 of us in.
I'll play along, and of course, walk up, say, hey, put my hand on arm, and say, oh yeah, we're just stopping in for a drink. How about you let us through? Of course, with the money, that's like a guarantee. My presence is pretty good.
All right. Anything else people want to try? I need to zoom in on the spot. I was gonna say you might try to run at super speed and just flash by them when they're not paying attention, but it might be hard with the plants and the rope.
I plan on standing in line.
Ideas you might have.
I'm gonna just stand in line. Wait my turn.
Okay.
That might be a while, but that's my plan.
I'm gonna stand next to him and try to convince him to cut the line, but and bribe. But I'm gonna do it quietly, and I'm gonna say, "Well, let's wait and see what happens with the other guys."
Okay. All right. So I'll have. Actually, I think a gentleman would be walking with the lady away from the crowd, and then, well, Oliver, I'm assuming you have your invisibility on.
Yeah.
Oh, I should be keeping that one.
So this is like walking up with almost kind of that slight arrogance or smugness, like, you know, I'm rich. I've done this before. Like, even though that's not my character type, I'm playing that out as, you know.
Yeah, you're playing it like you've been there before.
This is not your first rodeo.
Exactly.
This is obviously going to work. Is yours invisible 5 or 6? Then? Well, it's based off influence. I'm guessing 6.
He's muted, so I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't. You were muted. I didn't know if you'd responded. Eddie, is yours invisible 5 or 6? I think it's 6.
6.
6. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. It says alteration of influence in your influence, so that'll probably be your stat. All right. So yeah, Stern Schnupper gets in the line. Blitzman's kind of standing whispering in his ear, and you two just go strolling up with Oliver close in tow. And you walk right up to this bouncer, and I mean, I pretty much got your pitch. So I think you said you were going to do presence, but I'd say presence, persuasion, or deception for your role.
My presence.
And Alma Dieter, if you want to make a similar role in any of those 3.
Yeah, there's a way to like enhance his, right?
You
like when you guys can put your bolster. I'll bolster him.
Okay.
Gives me advantage. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what it does.
And then bolster. Do I have to roll it if it's a easy one?
If
we're not in combat?
We would play this like you would take 10 walking down the street. So I'm just saying it's on.
Okay.
And this is based off your oppression. So actually, that you can do it at power level 6.
Oh.
So that's actually advantage 2.
Nice.
Take that.
You need to be here more often.
Yes.
No kidding, right?
Bolster 6, and this is going to be presence.
Take the best.
I'll remember that.
The total roll with that bonus, which did help, gives me a 22, along with my money.
Okay. Yes. So you went over your approach, which is pretending oh, I've done this before. I'm totally confident, and because you do actually have the number, that also helps your confidence somewhat. But Alma Dieter is sort of the Jobu whispering in your ear, or how it. Well, I guess tell us how would the bolster work? Is he aware of it, or he just kind of has this confidence? Like he doesn't actually hear Jobu whispering in his ear, but he's kind of like, yeah, I am a handsome guy,
But maybe just also having her presence there, like having this attractive woman, like as the two of us, the power couple type of thing, maybe like the two of us because I've got the money. And I've kind of got the jaunt, like just gives me more confidence. Like, okay, this is totally selling it right here.
With Joe Boo, the way I picture it is I send him into somebody.
Oh, okay.
So he kind of merges with the person and enhances whatever stat the person's being bolstered with.
Nice.
So in this case, he'd jump in and just give you that like adrenaline boost or whatever it feels like that hits that spot that you're looking for.
Gives me the pimp walk.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, so
he teaches you because he knows it.
So the blue suit's rolling up. He's getting his money out. He's like, I got this. And he's like, yeah, you know what? I do got this. And he does. So you walk up, and Alma Dieter's just the pretty girl hanging on his shoulder. Not to say that. Well, definitely not all you're there for. But I don't know if anyone looked at Mila Jovovich and Michael Palin. You'd say, yeah, Michael Palin must be rich. She's with him. But your confidence when you stroll up, the bouncer kind of already knows kind of what's coming. And when he sees the money, especially the amount of money, he doesn't even say anything. He nods as though you belong there. Like the way he reacts to you, it's like almost like a professional courtesy. It's like, oh, thank you for coming, sir. We've been expecting you. Opens the line. So everyone else in line, they don't really see the money. They're just seeing like, oh yeah, this guy knows this guy, so that's how he's getting in. And then Eddie, I still gonna have to make you do an Eddie roll just to give me a agility check just to make sure you
He
don't
sneezes. Damn it!
trip over anyone.
Oh,
The
that plant
challenge
fell in
rating
front of me.
The challenge rating is not too difficult, so this will be more for comedic effect. I mean, heck, you could teleport through the door if you really had to. You're trying to read their body language for when they walk and when they stop, so you're not bumping into them or anything.
9.
9 is not great, but it is enough. So, you two file in. He comes from behind, and it's the guy is like putting the velvet rope back, and it's like the hook kind of snags on the corner of your shirt, and you're just able to pull it free, and the bouncer kind of looks at it, and he thinks it's like caught on a line or a thread or something, and he looks right at you, and for a moment you think like, fuck, he sees me, but it's not. He's just kind of glancing around, and you barely make it inside, but you do. He does not notice anything. So the three of you are now inside, and then Blitzman and Shooting Star, you're kind of like, was it Sir Robin and Monty Python the Holy Grail? That was easy. You just want to go charge up.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, look at them. They just waltzed right in there. Let's go. Let's do this. We can't wait
guess if
back here.
Alma Dieter, as she's going in, if she gives them you two a glance over her shoulder, like, come on, boys.
Just like, ta-ta, come on, whenever you guys feel like coming in. Well, Shooting Star, if he has that connection with the people, I think that would be good.
Well, I say, let's give it literally 60 seconds, so it doesn't look like I'm just copying him.
Okay.
Then we'll go.
All right.
And we'll see how far the line goes down in that time.
You give it a beat and you wait a bit. Again, it's a beautiful night out. You almost wouldn't mind waiting. Sort of like that kind of warm, summer breeze, but not the oppressive heat. And everyone's standing in line. You don't know how long they've been here, but they're all kind of in a good mood. They're all chatting. They're all excited and amped up to get into the place. It's a beautiful building. The setting's nice. It's this blue neon.
I'm checking out the people in front of us.
What's that?
I'm checking out the people in line ahead of us.
It's towards the back of the line. You're guessing probably college students. I mean, they're that age, and for what they're talking about, it's not the normal kind of work stuff. Or if they're talking about jobs, it's working as a barista in some coffee shop. It's not super complex work. So you figure, yeah, there's probably a bunch of kids looking for a night out. I mean, who else is going to go out on a Tuesday night? I guess. But really, a little more than a full minute goes by, and the line is still not moving a tick. You imagine they must be waiting on either people to come out or something. It's not like you're waiting in a movie line. You just have to wait for each person to get the ticket. Like it's not even moving. Although the locals here in line don't seem to mind as much.
All right, now that it's been that amount of time, I'll walk with Lars right up to the front. Same style of movement.
I think we should go to the other bouncer.
Sure, we could do that.
Yeah.
Changed up. Let's see.
Is it Hans and Franz?
Yeah. Yeah. We're here to pump you up. Let's see. And
pick things up and put them down.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the name of my of my dad's clothing line.
Yeah.
Sandines.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess it'd be Kleider, so in German.
Kleider. Yeah, and so I get up there and I've got a good wad in my hand, ready to hand it to him. and I say, "Yeah, stop by the shop sometime. We'll make sure we treat you right." As I hand him the money.
Okay. Same thing. Where if just one of you wants to speak, the other one can support the other. One support the other, or you can both make your own individual roles. And again, any of the social skills would apply. I guess in that case, I would say. Well, I mean, actually, Eric can't really do deception anyways because
No, I'm not
I was
trying to
saying
deceive.
you do literally. You're not making it up. You do actually have pull at those stores.
Right.
It is a nice store, and you are giving a legit thing. So presence what's the personality?
Yeah, presence is the best one for me.
Presence or persuasion.
What
All right.
What do you have for presents, Eric?
I have a 1.
Oh, I have a 3.
Oh.
So I can support you. How does that work? If I support him, does that work? Or
He just gets advantage. So you would want to
do it the other way around?
if you want to do that. If you say you're the one that's better at persuading, he would support you. So you would roll yours with advantage,
Okay.
and Eric would basically give you the you're saying hey you're giving some kind of excuse, or you're saying you're an important person throwing the money, and he's going, yeah, and check out these clothes. We'll give you a nice new suit or something like that.
All right, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I tried mine and I got 14.
20, 30,
Oh.
46.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
6. I rolled a 20, and then I rolled a 19 off of that. And of the 2 die 8, the one that I kept is a 7. So I'm like, yeah.
Well, that's good. It was a little tougher. He is a little bit harder of a read, but it was a big wad of cash between the two of you. And as far as the roll, say like maybe his clothing isn't quite up to snatch, and Eric is really dressed like teased out, and he really likes the suit, so he kind of lets you in. The guy standing at the rope now. It's been 2 groups. He's kind of like, come on, and talks to the person behind him like, well, what the fuck is this? Who are these guys? Like, I'll give you a nice suit too, but he pretty much holds the rope aside, lets you 2 in, and the green guy he kind of tries to follow you in, and the bouncer just gives him the hand, and he gets frustrated, but not quite enough to leave, so they end up staying, and you're now inside the entrance here.
At this time, giving out business cards, is that a thing?
Yeah.
Has that ever not been a thing?
Well, I wasn't sure if at this point in history if it was a major thing or not.
Well, in COVID, if we're not doing that shit anymore.
Yeah. So I give a card for the business with my name on it to the bouncer as part of the handover of stuff. That way he knows it's legit.
Oscar Friedheim card cutting and scoring machine. 1889, capable of producing 100,000 visiting and business cards a day. So yeah, I guess. Well, yeah. Here's one from 1895. Wow, it's even got the guy's photograph on and everything.
Wow, that's impressive.
Well, I mean, lawyers—they've always got the money to do
those
stuff.
bastards.
Yeah, no, I looked it up with like neon lights, and they said like the peak of neon was like 1920s to 1960s. So I'm like, yep,
really? I didn't even know neon was invented back then.
Well, they have to have a red light district, right?
You see it more in neon signs. I mean, this is the kind of stuff you'd think is kind of 1930s, just to see a sign like this. And then, I mean, you're not getting to this until you're at like the 1960s and Las Vegas and stuff. But definitely the smaller stuff. And they were even saying like 1930s Hollywood was, this here neon soaked 1930s. So this has been like a shot in Hollywood in the 1930s. I mean, obviously this is big city Berlin, but then not going to have quite as much. You have seen neon before, you have seen this kind of thing, but this building definitely is a novelty. Like this much neon, and then the whole blue theme and all these blue waves and everything else. It's definitely a little bit over the top. Again, this is Alexanderplatz. This is like the Times Square of Berlin. So yes, you're all inside, and you can place where you're at. You are in now this little foyer, and where's my the foyer is a smallish room, walled with mirrors all the way around, also tinted blue, surrounded with plants, again, that look like algae growing up from a coral reef on the floor. There's a coat check girl working in the booth, and a bouncer standing by. Sorry, he's supposed to be here. Bouncer standing by the door.
I have a pretty tight-fitting jacket on, but I'm using it to kind of hide some things underneath it, so I'm not going to check my coat.
I will actually check my overcoat, which is one of my items, but I'm willing to check it because it wouldn't make sense for me to walk in with an overcoat. However, my suit is still my suit. I will still be wearing that.
Yeah, yeah. And so if you're checking in with the attendant, so she's basically welcoming you all and offering to take your clothes, your whatever, all your clothes. It's that kind of a place. She's offering to take your coats, rain jackets, or umbrellas, whatnot, whatever you want. Basically, she says, you can leave everything with me. But before you go in, the bouncer usually checks people for weapons. I mean, we're a little loose here, so if you want to check your weapons with me, I also have a safe I can put them in. We just don't allow any weapons inside.
I'm fine.
I didn't bring a gun, but I did bring my sap. Is that going to be a problem?
Maybe you could try. I mean, it is a weapon, although it's something that also it could just be a keychain or something. I guess to try to pass it off. But you figure he's probably going to do some kind of a pat down.
Mm-hmm.
Are you asking the check-in girl?
Well, no, I'm asking Kurt.
So Kurt, that's going to be a roll based upon my belt, right? Because my belt has all the hidden compartments and shit for my stuff. Or
yeah,
like
I mean,
the suit
for
itself.
him doing a search for your, because you're extraordinary and does explicitly that, he would have to get some disgustingly high DC to be able to see something in one of the secret compartments of your belt,
Right.
Since it does the absorb object power.
Yeah. So it's absorbed object 4, persistent. So I mean, and it's kind of like that area. It's built into the suit so that my stuff can be concealed. But the question I have is there's only so much you can do. I didn't know if there was going to be like a roll again.
Yeah, no, for again, for you and knowing how well the stuff is and what you designed it for, unless this guy got lucky and hit a right button or something, or really questioned the belt itself. I mean, I have my own DC. It would be a high DC. It wouldn't be like someone just trying to hide a belt, a gun like under their belt line or something like that.
Yeah, it's like
for anyone else, if you have weapons, you could just check them. You're not going to get into any trouble. Or you could try to hide them on your person, use agility to try to, do a shift or tuck it under your belt or next to your balls or something. Or you could try to do the bribing thing, or you could try to do some other kind of influence or something. Yeah, Lars. Sorry, I'm pointing at the screen, which is everybody. Lars doesn't see I'm pointing at him specifically. But.
So, I mean, we probably would have known that they'd be checking us for weapons ahead of time, right?
Not really.
Okay. We don't have any intelligence on the club or anything. That's like across
nothing specific to that, and it's not too common a thing. I mean, it's happened in places, but you're kind of surprised. You kind when you see the bouncer at the inside door, you're like, all right, well maybe they just want to make sure no one's puking in the foyer or stealing coats or something. But when she mentions that, anyone who is hiding or concealing a gun that wants to take it with them is kind of like, fuck. You're kind of like caught on the spot.
Lars, you shoot electricity from your hands.
I know, but I carry a Luger.
Well,
Well,
I'm going to pull a foot-long
as I
knife.
said, if you do want to just check it at the coat room, you're not going to get strange eyes or anything. They'll just lock it in a lockbox. So there's no downside of
Yeah.
that. But if you wanted to get it in, you'd have to do something to get her inside.
Okay. I'm going to check my Luger.
You know what? With my character's honesty, I wouldn't be able to try to sneak it in. I'm just gonna check it. The sap.
Or you could hand it behind you, or hand it to Eddie and ask him to check it. Well, I don't even
No,
think you can
I'm
do
just gonna
that.
hand it to the check girl. I don't have an outside coat, so I don't need to put that, but I'll just check the sap.
Okay.
I'm going to pull a foot-long knife from my boot and hand it handle first to the lady. Be like, oh, here you go.
She is surprisingly cool about it all. It's almost like she's joking about it, like, wow, fun crowd. I'd like to hang out with you guys on the weekend. She's a little on the young side, but it's still strange. It's starting to make you wonder about what kind of a place this is, if this is a normal thing here. I mean, maybe it's just a good thing, like people are checking for weapons, and hey, that's okay. You have it to keep you safe on the way home, but as cops, you're kind of like, this is a little weird.
Mike, you should have been like, girls got to have protection.
Exactly.
I check my overcoat, my trench coat.
Okay. Now, does any besides Mike and his special gear, because he's got his utility belt? Is there anyone else that is going to try to sneak a weapon or a gun or something inside, or maybe besides Eddie because he's invisible, so the guy's not actually going to search. Or Eddie just walks up, "Hey, I'm invisible. Could you pat me down, please?"
Oh, Kurt, I forgot about my Bowie knife. I check that too.
Okay. Her eyes kind of go wide, like, it's the German accent, not the Australian. But she said, "Now that's a knife. Now das eine Messer ist." Yeah, was für ein Messer? Oh, let's see. What else? Let's see if it's man. Okay. So I guess it would be one at a time. So whoever wants, I guess maybe just say how you want to line up going into the place.
I'm gonna take lead.
Okay.
Actually, no, I will, basically give an eye to the bouncer as I let Alma in first. Like, again, she's my date. This is the proper thing. But give him the look of like, you're not frisking her. Like,
Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. I got what you're trying to do, and you still have the bolster on you until Alma stops spending the minor action to drop it.
It's almost
Joe
like,
Boo is with you.
this is my girlfriend. Your hands better not go anywhere. Type of thing.
Yeah. And then Eddie's probably going to do his own thing, and I'll stick you guys around back like that. So go ahead and do the presence check, and again, you still got the advantage too with the bolster on.
Kurt, I leave some space between me and them, thinking that I'm not sure exactly where Oliver Ramos is, and that gives him a little space. Plus, it looks like we're just a separate,
Right.
pair of people.
Yeah. Two chumps who couldn't get a date. Blue suits making you look bad.
Correct.
Got an explosion.
Yeah. Let's see, we got how many
explosions
guys?
are good.
One really cute girl, and he was first to jump on that. I called it.
Okay, so 19, 29, 38, 45.
I think that's a success.
Oh, now I'm getting worried about how combat's going to go. You burning all your good rolls, but not necessarily. Not everything's going to be combat. So no, that's all good stuff. It is such a high roll. You don't even have to say anything. You just give him a look like, "Hey, respect," and it's enough that he doesn't even have to say anything back. He's very professional and courteous. He does pat Alma-Dieter down, but very professionally, demurely, only in those exact spots, not quite your TSA, like, "Okay, I'm about to put my right hand inside your left waistcoat pocket," but he is chill, and you don't feel groped or oogled over at all. And if you don't have any weapons you're bringing in, you make it through fine.
Nope, no
Pass
weapons.
through the doors. You got to pause, maybe pause at the door for the blue suit. And I guess if you have nothing, then I don't really need to roll to find anything. So this guy, I'm going to roll.
I do have things on me. They're just hidden and absorbed.
Yeah.
He's gonna push the button. Go gadget rocket.
He gives you a good, thorough pat down, but does not find anything out of place. Your stuff seems to be concealed sufficiently. Eddie, you're seeing both Almadita and then Blue Suit getting patted down, and they're kind of pausing for each other, holding the door as one is getting patted down, the other one's watching the other. What do you want to do along? Do you want to pass by when one of them are going, or before or after?
Is the door open?
I'm hoping you're shaking up a salad or something, Mike, because that really makes it look good.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, wow, my God.
I just see his hands down. He's
Yeah, the
Beat
screamer
that thing
joined.
like a
If
redheaded
the
stepchild.
screamer joined right then, that'd be awful. Yeah, it's a salad.
yeah. That bottle of ranch sets off and just sprays the camera. All right, Mike is banned from future games. Can't keep it in his pants. Oh, that was Paul Rudd when he played Ant-Man. Of course, he's working with Michael Douglas through the whole thing, and he loves Michael Douglas. He thinks he's just a fabulous actor, and he said he was really cool with him being just kind of the young stupid guy. But he always plays pranks on set. So he was going to do this prank where in one of the scenes he was going to take his dick out of his pants and cross his legs. And in the scene, he would do the basic instinct, like uncrossing his legs, so that you would be, the camera would be looking at Michael Douglas, but he would see his cock, and it would be a big funny joke. But he was saying, now, when you don't think about in the moment, you're nervous and stuff, so you're all soft and pulling back into yourself. So he says that he's constantly like pulling at himself and trying to get it out and not show it too soon. And so through all this fidgeting, Michael Douglas notices and just stops and it's like, are you some kind of fucking pervert or something? What are you doing? It just completely blew up in his face. And then he had to explain the whole joke that he was going for. And then eventually it was a big laugh. But in that moment, Michael Douglas was like ready to walk off set saying, like, I don't want any part of this. No more Ant-Man movies. This guy's a fucking freak. Oh yeah. So, Eddie, what would you like to do for your approach?
Is
You want to try
the
sneaking by, or you just sort of like teleport past, or?
yeah, is the door open?
Yeah. So I mean, during the time when Almadita, he kind of pats her down. She's kind of holding the door, whatever, standing in the way while Blue Suit's getting the pat down. You do have a way to pass through if you want to try that, or if you want to try teleporting. Well, I don't know if you teleport if you always have to have that kind of smoke effect, or if it's more visual, or if it doesn't happen when you're invisible.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really up to you. I guess I would say it still does it anyway. At least, like, if you don't see it, you definitely still smell it. Like, it still smells like sulfur when I disappear.
I'll just pull a Jim Carrey. Woo!
So yeah, are there people like walking like across the doorway?
I
just don't wanna, like, pop
You can
up
already
and
hear
bump.
the music inside, but there's no one else around the door, either inside or out.
All right, I'll just teleport through then.
Okay. Yeah. You've got a line of sight, so you don't have to worry about bouncing off.
Yeah.
Something. So that does get you through, and then okay. So yeah, well, Blitzman and Shooting Star, you're not actually carrying. You checked everything you had as far as weapons, right? So I don't need to roll. Okay. Well, he pats you all down anyways, and even with you all, it seems relatively professional and courteous, despite again the alarming nature of their checking weapons policy. Even in the foyer, you can hear the music going, but as you step, well, I guess I'll pull the card back. Step everybody inside. Oh, come on. And your eye shot, you would have landed. You're kind of looking. You would have popped out of your invisibility. I guess I have to go out. Oh, something in the middle there. All right. The door is open to a huge space. There is a large bandstand on your right playing upbeat dance music. I'm going to throw a link into chat. You can start playing as far as what you're going to hear. Copy. Oh, I got to do it on this one. Shit. How do I do that? Ah, here we go. To everyone. Maybe a nightclub about music. And it even has some visuals which are sort of 1930s esque. The bandstand on your right is playing upbeat dance music. Drummers, trumpets, trombones, double bass, guitar, lead singers up front, or lead singer up front, and backup singers behind them. In front of each performer is, sort of their like where their music stand in is a large seashell with the A7 logo on the front. The band in a banner behind the band labeled "Big Daddy of the Deep" and the Nereids. The room is mostly a dance floor surrounded by tables, with a large bar in the middle at the center of the dance floor. And in the middle of the bar is a massive fish tank. It's roughly rectangular in shape, but with curved edges, despite how it looks on the Vizio. Uh, the middle of the whole second floor is cut out. So everything you're seeing here is the first floor, and then this line here, like, so under that line you've got a little roof over, and whereas in this whole area is wide open, and then there's a whole another second floor of additional tables and chairs up there which the stairs go up to, and this whole open area is open air. um, the middle of the second floor is cut out. You can see patrons up on the second floor dancing by the railing or seated in chairs. The second floor has an even higher ceiling than the first, and this giant fish tank extends from the floor all the way to the ceiling of the second story. So it's like 2 stories high, well, really more than 2 stories high. The fish tank has a large coral reef in the center, rising from up about 6 feet from the bottom. In front of it is a large chest full of gold doubloons, gems, and jewels spilling onto the sea floor. Exotic fish of every color swim about the massive tank, and swimming in the center of the tank is a beautiful blonde woman dressed like a mermaid, with green scales extending from her hips down to a fish tail. Pink seashell pasties cover each breast, and she holds a wand in her hand connected to the top of the tank with a long, thin tube with bubbles flowing out of the tip, from which she occasionally takes a breath, almost like she's smoking a long, elegant cigarette holder. The room is very dark, lit from above with dark blue colored lights. Numerous gel colored spots pan and sweep around the room. Shadows from lights projected on the wall, like shadows cast by sunlight through algae, waving back and forth. Bubbles float throughout the room, produced by some unseen device near the ceiling. The floor, all around you and all around the dance floor, appears to be glass, under which is a large tank of dark water, of which the bottom can't be seen, except for swirls of iridescent algae flowing and moving under your feet, with the otherwise unseen currents. And that's what you see here. The second tile I can pull to show more detail, but it's basically going to be similar to this outer ring. So you've got people dancing along the rail, and then tables and stuff along the outside. I guess besides, actually, just pull off the stage, you can see that. So here's the stage with the singer and the different musicians, the seashells around them, as well as this little staircase. You got the men's and women's room, as well as this door labeled instrument storage off to the left, and there's the backing is all like soundproofing. Here's your staircase spiral going up. You can see the barred doors from where they bring stuff on, probably to service the fish tank or other such things. But that is it for what you initially see.
Is there any indication of a VIP section?
Not that you can see, or at least not from this floor, at least.
Okay, so that first bouncer I pass, I'll give him the look and go, "Where's my section?" Type of, like the whole presence thing,
Yeah, go ahead and make a roll regardless.
Gotcha.
Where's the champagne room? I got my table service fee right here.
Am I still being bolstered for presence or no?
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
really, he doesn't. It's kind of a free thing until we actually go into combat, and then he has to worry about minor actions. Yeah,
Joe
and
Boo is just chilling.
The gray line is the bar. Obviously, the people working behind it, the bartenders. Everyone is numbered. Again, if it's green, they just don't look like they're a threat, whether it's a man or a woman. Orange, I mean, they don't really look like they're a threat, but I mean, they are a military-age male, so in theory, you never know they can pull a knife.
The roll is
Guys
16.
like that. So not too bad a roll, and he's professional and courteous and says, sorry, sir, we're a little more egalitarian here. Everyone's pretty much the same. You can check out the view from the top floor if you like looking down on people. Although he says it in a little bit more of a polite manner. It doesn't have a judgmental stink or anything on it, but it basically says it's all kind of one. There is really no VIP areas.
I guess I could say, where would people of my stature normally congregate? Would it normally be upstairs? Like the more elegant people, essentially, is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, he pretty much again shakes his head. Maybe now that you're asking the second question, he's giving you the little well, elegant people such as you then don't belong here, sir. Get the fuck out,
We're not that kind of place. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll turn to Alma and go, where do you want to go?
I say let's get upstairs, get a bird's eye view. I think that's best for at least watching things that are going on.
I'll say, after you, my lady.
All right, I'll head up that spiral staircase off to the right.
All right. And yeah, the band's still playing. Oh yeah, I think it said so. That's the bar.
And I'll follow Alma. Everyone else obviously can do whatever they want. I mean, Eddie can go anywhere he wants. So.
This box is kind of like the bounds of the dance floor / bar. This is really where you see that glass tank with the iridescent algae and stuff. And then these lines are also like decorative lines. It's like different shades of colors and plates. The way they've got it, so it's not just I don't know. You always go into those halls and they've got that little stupid parquet dance floor that kind of looks all generic. This is trying to be a little more stylized with it. So I guess you see if you want to say where you're going. You said just straight to the spiral staircase.
Yep.
Is everyone? So Alma's heading towards the staircase to go upstairs. Is everyone pretty much going on the same track?
I will follow Alma, and everyone else can do whatever they want. Okay. I'm trying to keep the persona up that we're there on a date type of thing.
And I'm going to cross the floor very, very boppily to the music and really get into the groove.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that we should take a look around, looking at Blitzman, but saying it loud enough so that the rest of the people in the group can hear me as well. And I'll just nod to him to the north east direction.
I was thinking going, walking around in the to the side of the bar and maybe getting a drink.
Okay.
Are there waiters and waitresses coming out of those two doors over on the right?
These here. Oh yeah, let me get this going. Oh, except go down here. Over here. These are actually like back doors that leads out to the alley. That's where let me zoom out wide. So, like, this is the whole building. This is essentially the first floor. These two doors here kind of lead out into the alley. This would be where they would load furniture and do deliveries and stuff like that.
Okay.
As far as in here, you've pretty much got the exit doors you came in, the stairs to the second floor, the doors, the men's and women's room, and then the door labeled for the instrument storage. It's essentially like off, where the band would load. Either they would leave that way, or they leave up here or load their instruments off and on.
Yeah.
You just got the bar here.
I'll just go upstairs.
Okay. So you're, essentially somewhat following after them, and you said you guys were heading up towards the fish tank, or towards the bar.
Yeah, to the if north is up, then to the north side of the bar.
Come up over here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess you probably had about this way. 20, 25, 30, due north. And Blitzman, are you going with
Yeah.
Shooting
We're just
Star?
walking together.
Okay.
For now, yeah, I'm walking with him for now.
Okay.
For now. Doesn't
Sure.
want to hang out with his brother.
They're not a couple.
Until he turns on him later. Cain and Abel.
Let's see. And I'm just going to check with everyone's perception. So I've got Oliver Ramos and Lightning Man with 3, and every Shooting Star with a 2, Alma Dieter and Blue Suit with a 1. Are those numbers right, or do I need to adjust anything?
That's right for me.
I missed
Right
that.
for
What was
me.
that?
What's your perception?
Oh, 1. Well, yeah, 1. Because I'm not. Yes, 1.
Two and 3. Okay. Shooting Star and Blitzman, you're heading. I think north is the corner, but for the sake of the map, I'm just gonna say up is north. You're heading north, and in looking up at the fish tank, you can see, while it's roughly like a rectangle, the sides are curved, so you are getting a bit of a lensing effect. Let's see. Yeah, as you walk closer to the fish tank, you see that the tank has a lensing effect, and depending upon the angle, you see the smiling, dancing faces of patrons up on by the second floor railing. Sort of like you're looking at the light, and it's acting as a lens, so anyone standing near or at the railing is kind of amplified. So you're kind of seeing their face really big, amplified. And as you're walking, they're kind of, the shapes of the faces are distorting and twisting as they're all rolling by. And again, everyone here, it's really kicking off. Everyone's jumping and laughing and having a good time. It's actually pretty loud, despite also being on the dark side. Depending on the angle, you're seeing the smiling, dancing faces of the patrons on the second floor railing, larger than life, until you stop in your tracks, look up, and see the cigarette smoking woman. Is her face large as life in the other side of the fish tank? She's staring both at the two of you. She takes a long drag off of her cigarette and starts tapping on her wristwatch as she's looking at you.
Oh.
Dun dun dun.
Wait, she's first floor or second floor?
So from the lens, and again, these two are the only ones seeing it,
Okay.
because it's like the lens is at the right place. But if you were having to guess, you'd probably place her near the railing or near the table, around about here.
No, I have no frame of reference. They're the ones that see.
Yeah, you would be seeing people this way, but you're looking through the fish tank, and as you're walking by, you are seeing all the reflections of people's faces here, and as it's panning down, you're seeing her. If this were the second floor, it would be roughly right here.
If I recall correctly, I think that she's the owner of this place. Is that right?
No, so the cigarette smoking woman is someone you noticed from your very first. Well, actually, sorry, Eric, you weren't even there. The very first investigation they ever did, and yeah, actually, I guess I don't know. I don't think Eric's had any background into this. When they did their very first investigation, they showed up on scene with the Wagner mugging, and there was like the police line do not cross. They were surrounded like lots of people watching, and a couple of them were doing literal investigation, taking fingerprints, and the rest of them said that they were going to try just surreptitiously watching the crowd, looking
Yep.
for faces that looked out of place. And it was difficult because it was a big crowd. So then Eddie stepped up and did this big fireworks effect, like he was a jester, like juggling fireballs. And as he was doing this, the whole crowd was going ooh and looking one way, except for two people whose eyes were just dead focused on the group doing their investigation. One of them it ended up being someone from the Durica Syndicate, another syndicate. Almadieter actually snuck into the crowd behind him, did a mind dredge, and found that he was worried one of his syndicate members was involved in the crime. And as it turns out, it wasn't. It was the other syndicate that was. The other person was this woman who was all across the square over by the cafe, and at least it was Anthony. He was playing another character, a Magni Thorson, and maybe it was Taylor. Two of them snuck through the crowd and made it over there. And she was gone, but her cigarette butt, half put out on the ground, was still there, along with a pile of butts of the same brand. Ferdinand. Going to objects, cigarette smoking woman. Oh yeah, this is one. The team had also since then run down the brand of cigarettes because they were stood out. They have this little red hand printed on the side. They're called Rothendel cigarettes. They originate from southwestern Germany, and these are to cigarettes what like Red Bull is to soda. Their nickname is actually Lung Torpedo. It's just full tar, full tobacco, no filter. Go fuck yourself. Like you smoke this and you have that kind of a voice. This is you know what you're doing when you're smoking these. And since then, she has shown up, or they have found evidence of her cigarettes showing up at different investigations they've been working on. They were doing one investigation, which was one of the mass killer murders where the bishop was killed and one of her cigarette butts was in his ashtray. Or when you all first went on, it was one of your adventures you went on when you got back to your headquarters at the end of it. You just had your kitchen upgraded. So you actually had a little kitchenette and a little coffee machine. And in your brand new untouched kitchenette, because no one's been in there yet, was an ashtray filled with ashes and one of her cigarette butts. And you could smell wafts of smoke from around your rooms, like she had been there as well. So she's been kind of a shadow that's been following you around, and you're not quite sure of her connection, if it's nefarious or helpful or third party or just coincidence. But it hasn't been looking great. So it is a bit of a shock to see her standing there, as well as you're not sure what she's indicating by it. The club owner was named as Hannah Fedor to you all as a member and a local consigliere and operator in the character syndicate in Berlin. She's kind of like the head of Berlin. You haven't had a picture of her yet, only how Tower Tom had described her as being blonde, thin, small, and kind of frightening in her own psychopathic kind of a way. You're not sure clear on her powers either. It's just something about him not being able to move. So it's definitely not her. It is this woman who's been popping up everywhere.
Okay.
So you two see her. I don't know, your rough physics, roughly, she's about here on the second floor. As I said, she kind of took a big drag of her cigarette, is looking right at you, and was tapping her watch. And let's see. I guess this is going to be a little bit of walking around and stuff. We don't really need an initiative order. This isn't necessarily even going to be combat, but just to give you some kind of order to go in. If everyone just wants to roll initiative.
$17.
All right.
18.
6.
13.
And I think Mike Scott went to get his dice. I'm guessing. Or maybe not. I'll just marker as red to stand out.
23. My 6 exploded twice.
All right. All right. I'll pair you up into the groups you're in. So we'll go Alma Dieter, Blue Suit, Shooting Star, Lightning Man, and Oliver Ramos as he's sort of solo there. So you two, actually in this case, I'll just say it's essentially going to be a Blitzman and Shooting Star's turn as they happen to notice this. You guys are still just walking off towards the stairs or whichever way Oliver's going as well, besides following you all. As I said, it's also really on the dark side. You've got these gel colored spotlights flaring all around, so it's a little bit dazed in your eyes, and the music is very loud. So, and you don't have radios, so I'll go to Lars stepped away, but Shooting Star and Blitzman. What do you want to do?
We're gonna kind of. I'm just startled by the person, but just continue our path to the north side of the bar, looking around the room and the upstairs as we go, and eventually sit down to get a drink.
Okay. Let's see. Well, I'll wait and see what Lars says. And I mean, I guess I don't know if with different players coming and going, I was kind of writing it so everyone kind of. It's almost as though everyone's been there since the beginning, and and when you're outside of Rosie's and Eddie was there, and then Eddie wasn't playing the next time, and Taylor was there. I just had to kind of swap in as though he was just always there, just kind of like rewrite the timeline, as it were. So you're essentially aware of her history and whatnot. We'll see if Lars wants to do anything.
Has she made any? I know I wouldn't see it yet, but has she made any overt actions other than tapping her watch?
You didn't. Yeah, you hadn't seen it, but that's all. That's all she did. She's just kind of looking at him.
Yeah, Lars
Gotcha.
probably rolled low and was like, I can totally go to the bathroom, go upstairs now, take care of some things, come and now they're all waiting on him.
Yeah, it's true. I guess he was thinking he was going last. All right, well, I'll just skip to you guys. So, Alma Dieter in Blue Suit. I'm guessing you don't know anything about that, so you're still walking towards the staircase to go upstairs.
Totally.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty much up to the stairs. Well, you kind of going side by side, boy, girl. And Oliver Ramos, you just following behind them?
Yep.
Okay. Not gonna sneak in the ladies' room.
I was about to say he's heading for the women's room.
He kills people and burns them and spits in their face. He's not a pervert.
It might be a story he's writing in his book, though.
Well,
Ramos goes into the
I would take a
bathroom.
metamorph to be more that than anything else.
Oh, without a doubt.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's Ferdinand player characters. Oh, there he is at the end. Yeah, if anyone's gonna be a pervert, it's gonna be him.
Oh, I didn't know that was his picture. He is totally skeevy.
He does it with his fez on.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, and he still has the fez.
What made it
In my
now?
mind,
Like,
I always pictured.
no matter what he does when he changes shape, he always has his fez on. Like that's his thing.
Yeah.
Now.
Whenever I pictured him, I pictured him as like a golem almost, just like kind of shapeless in a lot of ways. But wow, now I have a face to go with the name.
Yeah. Well, and it goes with his little Italian kind of accent and the kind of schmarmy little shitty things he says. But yeah, the fez stays. So when he turns into a hawk, it's a hawk with a tiny little fez on, or the giant gorilla or whatnot. So did I didn't get? I know you had rolled an initiative. Did Lars? Did you get that? Did you see her in the glass, or what your reaction was?
Yeah. Well, we saw her and she tapped her watch.
Yeah. So I keep hitting these damn lines. Put it back. Yes. When I did the initiative order, I kind of grouped you both together. So you were both standing around here. That's when you saw her up there. And Eric said he was just going to continue north, to just go up to the bar and look around here and order a drink. I wanted to check with you. If you these guys were just continuing upstairs, but they didn't know about her. I didn't know if you wanted to do anything different.
I'll do the same, keeping an eye on her as well as I walk.
Okay, well, she was looking
her.
through the glass at you as you're rounding the side here, and you're looking up to the edge. You don't see her up here, at least not by the railing. It's possible she could be seated over by the chair, but you don't see her standing up there. You only saw her kind of through the fish tank.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right, so but yes, it's back to you guys. If you're just continuing upstairs, we'll go. Movement is pretty much to get to the top of the stairs. So for what you're seeing, on this side here, you've got these large plants with the two bouncers standing by this door. There's another bar for the upstairs, like a augmented bar. Same thing with all the way around, and then here is the edge of the railing. Different people standing on the edge. This is where she would have been if she were still there, but basically, I'm just going to place the marker where she would have been standing, or their guess where she would have been standing when you guys saw her. And I need. Oops. You're out on the street. There's a car driving by. You're all in trouble. And Oliver's just coming up the stairs behind you. And you two have made your swing through here and are at the bar. And
Chilling like
other
villains.
than seeing her, nothing else is standing out. Obviously you see the bouncers, but they don't really look nefarious. They don't seem to have guns on them. No one's given the side eye looking back and forth. No one's really staring or following you. While, as I said, while neon and gel lights and stuff are of the time, this is a little bit almost overwhelming of the senses. Your normal dance club, yeah, maybe the music's a little loud, it's kind of smoky in the room. Maybe they've got some backlighting and stuff, but this is almost like feast for the senses. It's almost over the top. I mean, especially the fish, just the size of the fish tank. You're thinking, how did they get all the water in there? How did they pump the thing up? How does her little air tube thing working? And she's just kind of swimming around the tank, and you're kind of taking in the scene. And everyone here is definitely enjoying themselves in the place, but nothing stands out. You haven't noticed anyone familiar. No one appears to be carrying any weapons, or as I said, looking at you in an odd way. So far, nothing is standing out. You did your move. You guys did your move over to the bar. So we'll go back to the top here. Whatever you guys want to do. Start with Almadita and Blue Suit.
I say we, or I would head towards one of the tables where you can see over the edge to get a view of the bottom, as well as keep an eye on the top. Just kind of look for a place with good observation, like maybe the one in the top, that one right there, because
Like here, because you kind of got a shot of the door.
Exactly. You can look towards the door. You have the fish tank. You got everything. Got a little bit of everything.
And blue Suit, you gonna follow with?
Yeah, just gonna keep up the ruse, so to speak. Obviously looking out. I'm guessing we still don't see her because there's people in the way. So we're just gonna continue to do what we were initially going to do.
Yeah, and so you basically start walking. Like 5, 10, 30,
What's the matter, Mike? I'm not good enough. This is a ruse. This is only a ruse to you.
So I mean, you're essentially walking this way up towards this table. You don't see anyone standing here or anyone at this table that you recognize. So it's not like she's standing there and now you guys see her. You don't see anyone standing there. The table just appears to be empty. I mean, there might be things on it, but you're not really paying. Maybe candles or napkins or whatnot on any of these tables. You're just heading this way. Oliver Ramos, you still following through, or you want to?
No, I'll go the opposite way.
So we don't see her when we walk over here?
No.
Okay.
Well, and two, they were on the first floor here, and they saw her face in the lens of the tank. When they rounded the corner and actually looked up towards the rail, they didn't see her standing there. Although from their angle, they couldn't see this table, so she could have just stepped back and sat down as far as they're concerned.
My bad.
But
My
they didn't. Yeah, you don't see her there.
Hey, Kurt, are the bouncers between two ferns? Because that would be funny.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, roughly. No, Fern, you're kind of going with the whole nautical themes. Most of the plants, they have these kind of odd, wavy plant. It almost looks like like algae or the things growing on the bottom of the sea. Prompt up. It looks like it's a real plant. It's actually in a planter, but maybe it's got some like sticks kind of propping it up. These are just a little bit bigger. They almost look like one of those big domed kind of constructs. Full all the little tubes, the little guys popping out and sucking stuff in out of the water.
Brain coral.
Yeah. So back down to the first floor with you chaps. Yeah, I guess that view's probably pretty good. I got everyone in sight there, and I'm just gonna do a roll. And as you'd kind of walked up this way, looked into corners and stuff, making eye contact with people, watching some people dancing. You're on the way and make your way to the bar. And Blitzman doesn't notice. He's kind of still gawking at the fish tank and maybe the girl inside. But Shooting Star, you actually see Almadita in blue suit start to emerge from behind these people dancing up on the rail. So you look up on your left and you see these people dancing, and you see Almadita, kind of hard to miss, and blue suit walking behind them, heading north this way in the direction of where that woman is. And it's your turn. You and Lars going to do it.
All right. I don't really think I can do any kind of signaling to them because I don't think that would be necessarily helpful. I assume they'll spot her if she's going to be spotted. So I'm going
from
yeah,
the
go ahead.
way they're walking. As I said, she appeared to be standing roughly about here, and when you walked around the corner, you didn't see her. You figured she went and sat down, but they're just walking this way. They seem to be unawares, just walking straight
Yeah.
forward, not under any hurry.
So I'm gonna order a seltzer with lime, just to have something that's non-alcoholic, so that I can keep my full wits about me.
Yeah, it's
And
clear, so it looks like it could have vodka in it.
right. So
Gin and
that's what
tonic,
I
hold the
order.
gin.
Yeah, and I'm just going to be looking around, the rest of the room. I know I can't see everything, so I'm going to spend this round just scanning the room, see on the first floor if I can spot anything. That's all.
Okay.
I'm gonna order a sweet iced tea,
Okay.
and then as I'm waiting for it, I'm trying to casually look, like scan the balcony where I think I saw her.
Okay, and as you look up there, then you notice Almadita in blue suit starting to walk by. And as I said to Eric, they seem to just be casually walking forward like they're just strolling through the place. And again, from where she was standing, you think they would have seen her if she was still there. Like
Well, you guys step up to
seems
the
like they had
bar and you're
noticed.
like, "Give me a milk, chocolate."
Or also, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you're gonna you try to not get too soused up, or keep your wits about you, but
No, I know. It's just silly. It's like if you're trying to spot the cops.
yeah. No drugs for me, good man.
Yeah, I take the little umbrella out so it doesn't look like I'm drinking just a regular tea.
Okay, and then I guess back to the top with Almadita in blue suit, just continuing over to that table.
Yep, that looks like a plan. Also, the bouncers, now that we have like an angle on them that we can see around the plants, is there anything that stands out about them? Do I need to make a perception roll or anything?
You pretty much spend. Well, I guess it would technically be like 2 moves, so I guess you'd stand. I guess wherever you want to sit, that you would have the best. You would have the best view.
Ladies first.
Yeah, it'd probably be just up against that railing.
Oh, you just stand here rather than actually sit at the chair.
Yeah, because we're walking towards the table, right? And
Yeah.
I just kind of, the bouncers caught my eye as I came around the corner. So I was
Sure.
just hanging on the at the railing, just taking a look over and seeing what I can see.
I'll walk up and do the same, but I'll try to catch the a waitress's eye, and kind of give her the look and the nod of like, "Hey, looking to order."
Okay.
And then I come around and I just want to kind of like, I just do the sweep, I guess, the standard sweep, but I'm not looking down where he's looking. I'm looking across the entire second floor.
And actually, I guess I would say if you were trying to look at the bouncers right now, the fish tank would be in the way.
That's right. I didn't think about that.
Well, actually, I didn't either. If Eddie were visible, you might see a blurry Eddie face. But since he's invisible, he's kind of double blurry.
Well, maybe put us at that corner then.
Yeah, I guess.
But then we can't see the door over by the bar. But I guess we could.
Yeah, but we know 2 others are down on the first floor. I think my attention would be on the bouncers just to kind of see what they're checking out, or like what they're protecting over there. Like, is it a VIP room?
Do the bouncers look different? That sort of thing.
Yeah. Do they look hardened, criminal-like?
I would say put Alma there, and I'll go on the other side.
Yeah, I think ironically, you'd be standing almost where she was standing to be able to get a good shot on the bouncers. And actually, in this case, even a couple of these patrons are a little bit in the way. But Yeah, you can roughly see through there and get kind of eye shot on them. The bouncers and the bartenders all seem to be pretty much uniformly dressed. Um, it's not too fancy, but black and white. So I mean, not quite like black tie, like that level of dress up, but pretty much just all black pants, like black vest, white shirt, bow tie. Not bow tie, but professionally dressed, uniformly dressed. They don't appear to have any weapons about them. They don't appear to be all snaggly scarred up and stuff. They are pretty big fellas or ladies or gentlemen. The thick neck and all, and the big meaty hands and all of that. But again, they all appear to be just kind of standing where they are and watching the party unfold.
Um, Kurt, I'm actually going to, since there's a lot of noise and everything here, and I'm guessing, I'm just gonna, as discreetly as possible, I'm just gonna push the section of my hat that drops down my older brother, and I'm just gonna do a quick sweep with those. It's not like they're. I mean, they're the goggles. They're not. But if someone's looking at me, they're gonna notice. Obviously, I'm not gonna be that. But it's one of those things that like, if you saw the back of me and you weren't thinking about it, like, they
Yeah,
drop
I'm
down.
guessing they don't really look like welding goggles. They
No.
almost look like sunglasses, kind of.
Yeah. But there's still something. If someone's looking at my face, they're gonna know. It's like you know what I'm saying. I'm just trying to minor action drop
But I guess
down.
if someone were looking at you in a social setting like this, would they assume you're just a strange guy that wears kind of
Yes.
unique sunglasses, or do they really stand out as like
Strange looking
motorcycle
sunglasses.
goggles?
Strange looking sunglasses, but yeah, like they're round like John Lennon glasses, but they're a little bit bigger, and but it allows me to to see more. So
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you deploy them, and there's definitely people in here, but also because you have your hat on, it's got a bit of a shade under it, and it's still pretty dark. So unless you have a spot kind of swipe your face, no one's really noticed just yet. I mean, they're kind of more focused on the giant mermaid lady in the tank than they are on your hat and
right,
sunglasses.
and the if I invoke, which when I have them on, I have the detection boon. I know detection is very weird, but really what they're meant for is just enhancing your vision in regards to when you're doing sort of forensic type stuff. So you would see blood splatter better. You would see
Yeah.
a scrape on the
It's like
floor
you'd sprayed
better.
luminol on it and shone a
Right. So it's
UV
like an
light on it, something like
enhancement that way. So I just want to understand, like, it's not detection like any auras or any of that shit.
that. Yeah. But if there was like someone who dragged a bloody mess from the stairs to the bar, you would probably see some kind of line or something
Right.
like that.
I don't see all the semen on the walls, hopefully.
Yeah. This looks like a Jackson Pollock painting. Okay. And Shooting Star and Blitzman. Yeah, you've got your drinks. You've been checking out the place. Yeah, the songs kind of changed. It's a little bit different in tempo. Some of the people on the dance floor have gone to the bar, and vice versa. Other people are sitting down and chatting, and still nothing stood out as being odd or out of place. None of the bartenders, bartenders, the staff working there, you don't recognize any of the people. I mean, one of the typical things you're doing, especially if you're working in a police station, is you're checking the posters for all the people who are wanted and being looked for, or the people there are arrest warrants for, that are noticed, and you're not noticing anyone that's standing out. It seems like a pretty polished face to the place. As I said, other than the fact of the lights and all being a little new, or overstimulating and unusual, there's nothing beyond that sort of seems to be unusual.
I think I'd like to move around the bar a little bit to maybe here, so that I can see more of the upstairs now, and focus more on the upstairs as I move around.
Okay. And yeah, and also you see, these guys are right at the railing edge, just above you. Even as you start walking this way and around the corner, you see them up there.
Yep.
Let's see. I'll even roll their perception. Page. Yeah, Blitzman is he's not distracted. He's focusing on panning the periphery, so he doesn't notice. But Shooting Star, you and the blue suit and Almadeder, you all notice each other as they start rounding the corner. You're basically standing up above them this way, as these two guys are kind of wrapping their way around. You make eye contact there if there's anything you wanted to signal or say. I mean, you can't literally say, but mouth or something.
Yeah, I just kind of give a shrug. In other words, I didn't see anything special.
Not even the cigarette smoking lady who.
I don't know, and I mean, I don't want to. I'm not trying to play the
Yeah.
game, but like, this is this mysterious woman who's been following you around for the past, I don't know, well, a couple of weeks in game, but a couple of years of
True.
playing. I'm just surprised everyone's like, oh yeah, there's that mysterious woman's been following us. All right, well, let's go get a drink. It's like,
Well,
you might
Kurt,
wanna
we didn't
check
see her,
her
to be
out.
fair. Like, our team did not see her, so we don't know.
Yeah, no, you guys don't know,
Right,
so yeah,
right.
you guys don't. But
Right.
I just mean, I understand
Yeah.
you wouldn't necessarily go running right up there, but I don't know if you just say like you see nothing because you did see something.
Yeah.
Kurt,
Well, I mean, like, I don't know what to. Go ahead.
I was kind of waiting for Eric to go, and then I was going to go since I had a lower initiative anyway. But I was going to say that I'm going to start heading toward the stairs to go upstairs.
Okay.
So I move around and I sit down, and he just keeps walking past me.
Yeah, I'm just gonna like quickly say, I'm going upstairs and go.
Okay. And Oliver Ramos.
Because I do want to investigate that woman.
Has anyone come out of those doors that those bouncers are next to?
This one, no, not since you've seen it.
I'll go ahead and just hang back right there. I'm watching that door in particular just to see who comes out of there.
Okay.
Other than that, I'm just looking around, making sure that there's nothing weird happening.
And you look, and yeah, so far no one's moved out. But you're also, I've kind of got your perception a little bit on high because you're invisible and you're watching for people around you to make sure they don't like walk into you. So
Mhm.
you're it's almost like your perception DCs are a little bit lower because you're constantly scanning around you. Well, I guess maybe lower in the. It'd be easier to notice things immediately, and around you maybe harder to see things down on the first floor because you're more focused on everyone immediately about you. But nothing yet so far. But yeah, that's as far as everyone else got. Now we're back to Almadeder and Blue Suit up on the second floor.
I mean, if everything seems quiet, I mean, we're just waiting for something to happen at this point, I feel like. So I would say just keep an eye on the door with the bouncers and scan the room.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm particularly going to use. Well, you know what? Screw it. The damn fish tank is the fish tank. So as much as we're not seeing a whole lot of all else, I'm gonna try to use, with my enhanced perception and everything, just really kind of check out the damn fish tank. Who knows? Maybe there's a secret tunnel in the damn thing. Who knows? I don't know. It's just that whole like everything else here seems normal. Everyone else is watching other things. I'm not noticing anything, so at least this is the most interesting thing in the room to look at.
Yeah. So Almadeder did your scan of the room and watching that door. You are paying attention. The waitress does stop by and take your drink order if you want to put in an order for something. I don't know if you want to throw out what a drink you want to
Hemingway daiquiri, although Hemingway hadn't been born yet.
have.
Just straight up gin and tonic.
Okay. So she starts heading off towards the bar in the southwest corner. Almadeder also closely watching. It's around this time you do notice someone does come out of this door, and it appears to be someone dressed in sort of the same uniform. And probably from the lack of bulk, they're probably going to be a bartender of some kind. They come Out of the door, these two kind of stop, look at them, nod. They come out, close the door behind them, and they start walking towards the spiral staircase to head downstairs. Oliver, you notice this too. You could do something else on your turn if you wanted to. Blue suit, you do your perception check, which I rolled for looking about, as you said, like focusing on the fish tank. This one using your Adler Brilla, so you get that like little bit of extra detail.
I get an advantage. It's bolstered.
Well, okay,
So I get bolster and I get detection. So I get advantage on the perception roll, but I also have detection as a boon.
Yeah. So I rolled to give you some more points, but it was a strong roll in any case. At least in checking the whole place, I mean, obviously it is a little in the dark side. There's not a heck of a lot of light. Things like detecting fluids probably a little bit closer, but you're not. Nothing's really standing out as far as drag marks, or you don't really see any blood, anything stand out. Maybe there's a speck somewhere on the side of the bar downstairs, or someone got a paper cutter, nicked themselves with a knife cutting a lemon or something like that, but nothing big, nothing. Fortunately, not a big pile of blood or something that's been cleaned up, and nothing that seems to be on the patron's clothes. The fish tank does stand out as being some kind of a marvel of engineering, and I mean, even as a sort of a technician, you're kind of almost falling into that. Like, well, I wonder how they built that. Is it plexiglass? Is it real glass? Did they do it all in one sheet? Did they glue a couple together? You're kind of looking for seams. It all looks pretty seamless, like it was just one piece that they must have just lowered down, manufactured lower down, and then filled from the top, however they capped it. At the top, you can make out like a little bit kind of a waves towards the top. You see the woman swimming in there, and she has the wand that she's breathing out of, and it goes up to the top. You figured, especially being from the top, you can't see any doors in the bottom unless it's covered by something. So she must just swim up to the surface of the water, and they must have like a little ladder or something. But still, there's no lights up there. So while you can make out a little bit of a shimmer of the surface of the water, you can't quite make out where that ladder is or where the stairs are. Otherwise, other than that tube heading up that way. But I mean, there's no one climbing up in the rafters. There's no sniper, kind of held up there. The rest of the blackened out ceiling, everything else seems to be pretty secure and straightforward. I was back to the top of the order, and then Shooting Star and Lightning Man. So Blitzman was still heading for upstairs. 50, 60, still up on the stairs, and then Shooting Star on mute. You're on mute, Eric.
Sorry. I thought I had unmuted myself and I muted myself. Can I see that second floor door that these guys have been talking about with the two guards and the two plants?
Yeah.
From where I am.
Oh, can you see it?
Yeah. Because I'm trying to look at the upstairs, but I don't know if I can see it from that kind of angle.
Yeah, no, it's
too far.
Too far back. I would say even if you were this guy here standing all the way at the back, the most you could see back is 2, maybe 3 squares.
Okay. All right.
The middle one and definitely the back ones are out of view. And the same is going to be for the upstairs. So, while you guys are standing on this rail, if it's dead across, you can probably see maybe this person in the back chair might even be out of your view. But, definitely like over here, you can't see anyone at the tables either. Yeah. So it's kind of a split. On being on the top floor, you can see the whole top floor other than the other side of the fish tank, as well as the bottom. You have better view from the bottom up, but either place you're in, there's definitely edges you can't get an eye on.
All right, so I'm going to spend this round trying to observe more because I've already been on 3 sides of this bar, and just to see if I can pick up anything more from the downstairs side, and then next round I'll head up.
Okay. And is there, you want to change position to anywhere?
I'll move around this pair of people to halfway between them and the next person
Okay.
down.
So you said you were going to move down to like here or something.
Yeah.
Okay. You go to move past number 79 and provoke an attack of opportunity. She turns and asks where you're going in such a rush. She's flirting with you.
I just say, "Oh, I'm just looking around. It's my first time here, and I just wanted to see all of the different areas of the building. And thanks for noticing." And I move around.
Wow, you're smooth. Real
Yeah.
smooth.
She puts her hand on your chest, kind of stopping you from moving
Yep.
any further, and says,
Okay.
"Haven't you found the best area already?"
Is she with a male or no?
It
I can't
seems
quite
to
see
be,
it.
but they don't seem to be. They're not like holding hands or anything.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Okay.
it's hard to tell with just two people standing next to each other, but they seem to be more like friends, if anything.
Well, I'll actually sit back down and I'll say, "So, what brings you here tonight?"
So she starts talking about blah blah blah. It's the hottest new place. She's not a college student. She's a little bit older, so
Yeah.
maybe like early 30s. Not quite housewife settled down, but
Yeah.
not a still not a party. She doesn't have that the crow's feet and someone who just like goes out
Yeah.
drinking every night. But she obviously going out on a Tuesday night. She basically says the word about town, like this is the hot new place to be, and to her friends are not lying because it's awesome in here. I mean, look at this with all the lights and the fish and she's like the bubbles. She's smoking and she's kind of using this. She has that like the cigarette
Yeah. The
extension, she's kinda, like
extension.
popping bubbles with her cigarette. She's like, this is just the hippest, coolest place ever. Whatever the lingo is at the time. Don't you dig that jive, man? And maybe that's a little bit later.
Yeah. I get it.
Not quite.
Nah, the place is lit, man. That's what it is.
It is
It
literally lit.
certainly is lit up. Yeah. So I'll just kind of, casually flirt back, but not in a way that I'm leading her on. Because that would,
polite flirting.
and really, this is, for me, this is like, I don't know how to handle it. So
Yeah,
she stopped me, so I kind of sit down, but I'm not smooth about this at all. Even so, she's a little older than me. It's still, she's reasonably attractive. So I'm like totally lost with this.
And so far, she doesn't seem to notice your any of your bumbling. I mean, it is a little on it's the loud side. It's not quite a rave, but it is that what or you say something bumbling, but it just the other person maybe assumes you said something normal.
Right.
So she hasn't given you any like strange looks just yet. But yeah, if you want to
Yeah.
throw any of your thing into there as well.
Yeah.
So I'll leave you there
Yeah.
and go to.
I'll come up with a good one.
Yeah. Let you man. And
Give
we're
you some time to regroup.
back to Oliver Ramos. So you had been watching that door, and you see this bartender, what looks like a bartender, come out. I mean, they're dressed exactly like 37 and 38. Step out, close the door behind them, and then start walking this way. And because again you're studying it so intently, there is something very methodical even about the way they go through the door. They're not like nonchalantly just letting the door close behind them. It is that you're almost like watching a bank teller like go back into the vault kind of a thing. It's like they open the door, they close it behind them, they give it a push. They look at the two bouncers, they nod at them, they nod at them, then they proceed and they start walking down. It gives you a mind of like in casinos when they're changing money. It's always changing one. Slow motions, turn, hands always like overly deliberate. That's the feeling that you're getting from their actions and the way they're watching each other. Is they're being overly deliberate about going through the door. This isn't one of those where they're going to walk through and then the door will slowly swing shut and you run in behind them. It's like they're really watching what they do.
Okay.
Again, it doesn't strike you necessarily as odd. It is in a way just good business security and functions and stuff, but
Sure.
it's more than a casual sort of place. So I mean, we'll take this was kind of happening on their turn, so they are kind of stepping away. But if you wanted to take some kind of action while they were going, follow them, try move and try to get a peek inside the door or something.
Yeah,
Like
that's what
act
I was.
on the spot. It was happening.
That's what I was hoping to do. Just get a look inside.
Yeah, so you essentially like move to a position so when the door swings, and so let's see. I don't want to. Let me take a peek myself off screen. Oh, look at all that dynamite.
Oh, look at all those pictures of the metamorph.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's the metamorph tied up being tortured and whatnot. Your angle you would see through. Okay. Center. So you maybe shift like a little bit to the right to get like a better angle on it, and I didn't even catch which way the door opens. Damn it, which way is the door open? Because it did open to the right. Undo. Okay, shift, shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. And I put these little door caps on it, and on the other end, it's got the actual swing part, just so you know there's a door there when this is covering it. The door does swing over this way, so this is the side the door would rest on it. Um, and as they open it up and start stepping through, you do get a glimpse in there. It does seem to be on this side. There's a wall roughly right here, and there's a door in that wall also right about here. So either they're 2 rooms or 3 rooms or a small room with 2 big rooms or something. But there it does appear to be a wall roughly here behind where the plant is, and another door there. And you didn't see anyone else inside, and there's like almost nothing in there. It's still got the normal carpet, the nice walls, the woodwork and stuff, but there's no lamps, desks, bookshelves, or anything like that. It just seems to be an empty room from the glance he got.
Okay.
And, and you
Yeah.
can still do more stuff if you want to move or check or whatever.
Let's teleport inside.
Okay. So let's see, kind of
If I can make it.
20. Like a move of 20 would you get to here if you want to keep moving to a different position? If you want to be, I guess where do you want to go, like start your teleport from? You can move like another 10, two squares. If you want to try to teleport from here, you got the distance, but I didn't know if you wanted to get closer or duck into a plant somewhat. I mean, as much as you are, like you said, you're invisible, but it still makes a puff of smoke or at the very least the smell if you wanted to move to a certain spot to do the teleport from.
Where I am right there is
So
fine.
I think you can teleport 30 movement. And if
Yeah.
you're going to a space, I mean, like this would probably, well, actually, that would probably be the safest bet because this is the empty spot you just visualized, and
Yeah.
that is 30 feet of movement, and you're next to the plant. So I gotta stop helping you guys.
That's what I'm hoping. I just don't want to hit anything when I get in there.
Well, actually, let me move that back. So I mean, this is essentially the exact teleport you're gonna try to do is to this spot here.
Yeah, the open spot that I saw. Yeah.
Okay. And oh yeah, you don't even need to roll because the boom focus. So you teleport basically right in front of that door, and it's a little oops, it's a little whenever you teleport and you saw it or you can't quite see it. If you teleport into something, it'll do that buffer out, which kind of hurts. It kind of stuns a little bit. But even if you do make it, sometimes the wall is just like a little bit too close. You kind of, The thing's like right off the tip of your nose. So you're standing right in front of that door, and as you scan around you, just even a simple perception, not even have to do a roll. It is as I described. Both sides, it's completely empty. There's nobody in it. There's no stuff in it. There are 3 doors, and all 3 of them are closed. And I mean, other than that, your minor action of doing that simple perception of what's around you and sustaining your invisibility. That's the end of your turn. So go back to Alma Dieter in blue suit.
I'll let
Hey, sorry.
Alma go first, and I'll do what I want to do.
All right.
Did I
If we
get-
see this person coming out and acting,
Yeah, we did shooting star and you walking up the stairs, then Oliver last. We go back to top of the order, which is Alma Dieter in blue suit, and then it'll be you Lars and shooting star.
Okay.
noticing that the person coming out of the door was acting a little strange, like a little bit more, controlled than a normal situation would have kind of incurred.
From your distance and looking, that was a little bit harder to read. I gave Eddie that level because he's kind of close enough to make faces out, and he was also standing there, kind of focused right on that door. So that was a level of detail that he got. While to you, it was just a person who worked there coming out of a door, kind of a level.
All right, I'm going to chill where I am then. Just keep searching around, looking around, and actually look at what is his name? The shooting star. Hanging out
Actually,
like that.
down below you see the shooting star hitting it off with not too young but younger woman, or older woman. I should say he's not too young for her. She's
Right.
not too old for him, but an older woman is definitely chatting him up. Actually, I forget how old your character is.
Somewhere around between 23 and 25. So
23 and 25.
let's,
All right,
let me say I'm 25.
There you go.
So she's like 7 years older.
Yeah.
So I'm going to look down and catch your eye and just do a little golf clap for you, just to let you know that I'm your cheerleader. I'm all behind you on this one.
So, Kurt,
the woman he's with does not notice. Sorry, go ahead.
I basically want to do a logic and figure out how the hell, architecturally or logically, where the hell would they have access to this tank to go to the next floor? Is obviously the spiral staircase stops, the floors go up. How basically I want to do some sort of I'm just trying to figure out. I mean, this isn't. I think it's important. It may not seem important, but the whole thing.
Yeah.
How is it that they are able to have the tank where it's at? Where is this 3rd floor? Is there a possibility? Because my whole thought process is if they've taken somebody, they're holding them somewhere.
Yeah.
It's kind of like where I'm going with it is I'm trying to say I get that there's places we don't have access to just yet. I'm sure there's sort of stairs, but can I do some sort of with my mechanical engineering? I know it's not architecture, but some sort of logic of, okay, if you're going to have some sort of water pump, structurally you might put it blah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of where I'm going with that.
So from the height, you saw the height of the building from the outside. And I mean, you could kind of tell from here, that this floor is a little bit taller than this one. And when you got inside, the ceiling was close. When you're on the 1st floor, underneath that 2nd floor, I mean, you could kind of reach up and touch the ceiling. Whereas up here, you've got a lot more height. But even then, it does go up a fair amount. It would be a simple engineering thing. Just how buildings are built. And it's like when you go into a Chipotle, they don't have a drop ceiling. It's just all the way up to the roof. You actually see the actual structural girders, but they're all just painted black to kind of look with the style. As far as the tank does go up to the ceiling, from the way the ceiling looks, it's not structural. So there's got to be some kind of drop ceiling. So you've got to have a crawl space, kind of, maybe a 4-foot high space to work with. But to get where whoever that woman is to get down into there, you figure it's got to be roof access. You would guess, she might have to go, in, come out on like the not the this actual floor, but whatever window is flush with the roof, walk over and go down into some kind of hatch to get into this crawl space. Either that or somewhere around, maybe back here, there's like stairs that would go up to that crawl space, and you would walk over and then plop down into the tank. But from the height of it and the drop ceiling, you can't see the ventilation ducts, you can't see the I beams. So it looks like, as high as it is, there is some kind of drop ceiling with a crawl space. Although, as the point you made, if someone can be up there to get into the tank, I mean, maybe they could have him tied up there or something like that. That's a possibility.
Yeah, it's so. I mean, really, I guess I'm just spending my time. Just seems like I'm wasting time here. Probably because I'm not noticing a damn thing. Okay.
Well, the last, I rolled the perception because you don't really know
Right.
how, if you're noticing something or not. But from the level of detail you're getting from your glasses and the readout, it doesn't. I mean, unless you're, missing the tree for the forest, missing some particular individual. But also you've also got your team members, and none of them so far has waved you down or pointed at anyone. So you don't think you've missed anyone so far, at least not out on the floor.
Yeah, I guess then what I'm gonna be after this is I'm just because I know other people do their things and this is not really my thing. I think the biggest thing I can do is try to see if there's anybody here that I recognize that we may have an arrest warrant for. Like, not, I mean, just patrons. Maybe there's, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, and I've been rolling for that too. Like I said, back at the police station, and anyone you operate out of, it's just sort of like common procedure. Like, before you head out, you do a scan of the faces, kind of load them into your short-term memory. So when you're out on the street, if one of their faces does pop out at you, I've been doing perception checks for everybody every turn,
okay.
for anything else that might stand out of the ordinary. And so far, you still haven't noticed anything.
Okay.
We'll go to the Blitzman on the stairs.
I'm going up the stairs.
25, 30, and you've made it to the top of the stairs, and you're heading this way, and you see, these three. These are the younger college students. You're not even sure if they're quite old enough to make it in here. Maybe they have fake IDs. I don't know. That'd be another question. Did they have fake IDs back in the 1930s? But they're all bopping along a little too south. 71. Actually, all three of them are. Oh my god! A whole bunch of these. I didn't renumber all my patrons. Well, they're not going to attack anyone anyways. They're triplets. All three of them.
Twins, yeah, triplets.
Also, three of them are 71.
Yeah, I don't think they ever. I don't think they ever like in the 30s, especially in Europe, like with alcohol being it was just more like you're just not allowed in the establishment. That they don't actually carded people.
If you walked up and you looked too young, they could tell you to fuck off,
Right.
and it didn't matter if you actually were 21 or not, or whatever
Yeah.
the age was. Well, yeah, I guess it's the bouncer's purview. So they were cute, so they decided to let them in.
If you can see over the bar, you can be served.
Yeah. So you start heading north. You see them chit-chatting and scanning the room, as well as eyeballing the door this way. And these three, they almost look like they're about to fall off the railing, but not quite there. But you continue to head north.
So Kurt, are you saying I see the red icon there, but you were saying before that you don't see her?
It's a marker of where she was standing.
Okay, just making sure.
I wanted to let me do a halo. Yeah, they're like a red halo.
So yeah, I'm very carefully scanning the area as I walk.
Yep, and I did a perception check. You can't quite see the table or the spot. You see where Almadeither and Blue Suit are, but you haven't made anything else out, and nothing else seems to be standing out. You've also got a bit of scanning to do of the room in general. It's kind of a new floor, and yeah, again, you got patrons kind of going to the bar and nothing else. Oh, yeah, I think it's the whole second floor greens I forgot to do. Although even that was kind of inane because they're green, so they're not really going to be attacking anybody.
Okay.
And then Shooting Star, Sternschnupp.
All right. So
she is still she's still
Yep.
chatting you up, and she's asking what you do for a living.
Here's how I'm going to play this. I'm going to have to roll on a 20-sider my resolve or less to be able to break it away from her, so that I'm playing my total incompetence in being around pretty women. So I'm going to roll a 20-sider to see if I can.
And I did give you a perception check because you're chatting with her and the guy next to her. The guy that's next to her seems to be a friend, but he seems more interested in the other guys at the bar than the women. And his demeanor, when you have two people and one starts getting chatting up, you don't want to be the cock block. You politely just kind of look the other way and pretend like you're distracted because you don't want to mess anything up for them. And he appears to be doing that. He appears to be actively not looking in your direction to let Karen chat you up or whatever.
Right. All right, so here goes. I got a 3. So that's lower than my resolve, which is a 13. So I say, well, actually, I work with the police department, and I have to get going. So I have to go to the bathroom. Just me being awkward. That's my way of getting out of it. So
Okay.
Bye. And I start walking around her towards the men's room.
Okay, when you say you're with the police, her eyes go wide, and she's about to make some like, "Am I under arrest?" But you kind of bumble over. You just keep talking, and you're not. She's saying, and she keeps like stop, that stop start, and then you just kind of like wave and start walking, and she's kind of like, "Oh,
Yeah.
So 5, 10, 15, 20.
Hello, cute person. I gotta pee. See you later.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'll get you to about there for your bold walk. Maybe she steps off her stool or away from the bar and looks forlornly at your back, or maybe if Alma Dieter in blue suit noticed that you're trying to focus, not look back at her to try to break away.
I'm double moving it. I'm fast walking it to the bathroom.
Yeah, actually, I think with your movement, you were chatting for a little bit, so it wasn't quite a double move.
Sure.
Your move is more than I guess you're this way to head for the men's room.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. Blue. And Oliver Ramos.
I'm gonna press my ear against the door and try and hear anything on the other side.
Okay. Roll. Give me an agility roll, but again, I'm not giving you a hard DC. You have to, really, really, really roll bad. Which
agility?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm gonna check what is in there. More dynamite.
18.
18. Okay, so you definitely and quietly, kind of move in, hands on the door to hold your head, like bump your head on it and all. And your perception is 3, great. That's 1 die 10.
1 die 8.
1 die 8. 4, 6, 8. So I always roll 8s really well. So yeah, and I do. You got a 27. So you gently and quietly push your ear to the door and listen, and you do hear several male voices chatting somewhat boisterously. They're you can't quite make out the words, but he's definitely telling a story of some encounter he got into. You're not sure if it's a fight or a romantic one, but it seems to be very funny because there's several booming, laughing voices in there. You're guessing it's got to be at least probably 3 to 5 people. It's at least 2 having conversation. There's at least a third voice laughing. There could be a fourth in the conversation you can't quite make out. And I mean, maybe there's a fifth person just sitting there, but if it was more than that, whenever there's a conversation, certain number of people speak up at certain rates. So that's probably your guess, like 3 to 5 people in there, and they're a little bit on the loud side, and they're not moving. So it doesn't sound like they're moving about the room. They must be sitting down or just standing where they are. Well, yeah, sitting or standing. It's really the only two options. Not laying on the ground. Um, but yeah, nothing else stands out as far as a sound. You don't hear, muffled cries for help or screaming or anything like that. There's no radios in this world, so there's no music in here. Actually, I'd say the door out to where the bounces are, being in this chamber, is kind of the only thing that would actually let you be able to hear through the door a bit. Otherwise, if you were actually standing on here trying to listen to this door, it'd be pretty hard because it's so loud outside. Anything else you want to do while you're there?
I'd like to move away from the door. That's
Okay.
for sure. Let's go. It's probably in the corner over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, tucked over in the corner. And back to the top of the order with Blue Suit and Alma Dieter. And let me roll for your perceptions. Alma Dieter, you seem maybe distracted, or you're watching the heartbreak of Shooting Star walking away from this MILF trying to snag him in, and even her buddy is kind of looking at it with a disappointed look. So you don't notice, but the blue suit, you see Blitzman walking towards you, and he seems to have a more of a brisk pace in his step. He's not casually. Actually, I didn't ask if you left your drink behind, but it seemed from your motivation
Oh,
that
yeah.
you're kind of on business.
Yep, I'm gone.
Well, I mean, Eric left. I mean, Lars, I don't know if you left your sweet tea when you went to go upstairs, or if you were taking it with you.
No, I said I brought it with me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Lars has his sweet tea, but he's still walking towards you.
All right, I'm gonna minor action drop my goggles back up into their, but they flip up into the hat, and I will, and based upon the fact that he's coming this way, since I've got nothing better to do, I figure I'll just meet him halfway. So I want to move to 5, 10, 15.
30 would be here, or
I'll just meet
to
him. I'll just meet him here.
Okay. And it's even a little bit less than adult movie. You can speak to him if you want to.
And just basically say like, basically like what's on your mind.
Let's see. Yeah, actually, that was both of you. It really is down to Shooting Star and Blitzman. So actually, Lars, if you want to take it from there.
He's asking me what's on my mind.
I'm asking you very politely as if we don't know each other, but maybe I'm not trying to be conspicuous. Like, hey, what did you see? Because you seem to have an intent. So that means, so I'm just kind of like doing the, hey man, what's going on? But
Okay.
with the like eyebrows, yeah,
Right. Right.
What can I do for you, sir?
Yeah.
So, being that we're not too far away from other people, I kind of quietly say that the woman with the red hand cigarettes was just up by where you were just standing. That's why I came up here to find her.
Okay.
And Blue Suit, you're a little, like they were. You're a little shocked at hearing this, and maybe even more so because you happen to be standing where she was standing. I mean, it's not really your turn, but you're kind of like snapping. You're almost instinctively snapping around and looking behind you. Also, because you left Alma Dieter back there, you're half expecting to turn around and see Alma Dieter with the cigarette smoking stand behind her with like a knife to her throat or something like that.
Oh,
But
she's
you
never
don't
been
when you.
malicious. I mean, I wasn't there for that
Well,
first
it never
one.
never has been, but it's like you worry about the worst possible outcome. Like
Sure.
if she is helpful, like well, great, but it's just been I don't know undetermined. I guess what bothered you was not just that she was watching you, but at least in the cases of like investigating the bishop that was killed, like she was in a crime scene. Like she actually left footprints behind.
Right.
So you're like your assumption went to was she interfering with it? If she was investigating who she investigating for, it doesn't make any
Right.
sense. And if you were, you wouldn't want to contaminate the crime scene. So
I
while
think-
you don't necessarily think she's nefarious, you're really undecided yet. And the fact that she was standing near where you were, you're just assuming some kind of assault. That would be your
what I
first
want
impression.
mostly what I want to say is that, or my thought process is really going to be like, are you sure? Because there's nothing, like no trace type of thing. Like, you sure it wasn't just like a trick of your brain? Almost like, I mean, not that I don't trust Lars, but it's still kind of like, okay, like, and then like now I want to
Yeah,
recheck
or
every
your
person.
reaction may even, in fairness, be like you saw her in a dark club with flashing lights all the way across the room, all the way up on the second floor. Are you sure it wasn't just some woman who was smoking? I mean, that would be your initial.
Essentially, like, not that I don't trust him, but just like I've looked at everyone here, I didn't see her, so like that's kind of like the tack I want to take.
Yeah. And I mean, we'll just play it through while we're here, Lars. If you wanted to give more detail or suggest an action.
Yeah. So I I tell him that the corners of the fish tank distort the magnify certain views, and I saw her through the corner of the fish tank up there because of the way that it magnifies it.
Yeah, so it's like the lensing effect of the tank was actually, so her face was, 4 foot by 3 foot. I'm pretty sure it was her. You're on mute, Mike.
I didn't hit the wrong button. I always do that. So I'm gonna
No
go
worries.
full moron and go in the fish tank, like.
Through the fish tank.
It is loud in here.
But it's like, how do you know through the fish tank? Again, he's describing to me. I already know the answer, but how do you know she wasn't in the fish tank?
I would say, given his strong science background and your strong engineering background, the way he would have described it with the lensing effect of the tank, you would have got that it would have.
Oh, she was smoking a cigarette. This is really what it comes down to. She's not in the fish tank. She's smoking a cigarette. I get it.
That's a very good point. She couldn't have been smoking the cigarette inside the fish tank unless the fish tank's not real.
Unless there's something fucking wonky in that fish tank. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll just be like, all right, man. Like, well, now something is afoot at the Circle K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go to. Oh, someone made a little right triangle. Actually, no, it's a 2-3. It's not a 3-4-5 triangle. So it's not a. The hypotenuse wouldn't be an even sum. I have to calculate. That'd be decimal value. Okay.
It was begging. It was begging to be cornered.
I actually
triangle.
found this online. It's a simple trigonometry calculator where you just put in like the values and it automatically gives you the other ones. So if you guys were fighting, like shooting someone, you wanted to know the range on an angle, I could do a quick, you just throw in the calculations ahead of time. It'll automatically tell you if you're within range or not. So that's what made me think of it when someone drew that off.
Yeah.
But so Blitzman went. We'll take on a shooting star. You're still heading south, presumably towards the men's room, but you could commit and go into the men's room, or if you wanted to go up the stairs and break that poor woman's heart.
No, I'm going to the men's room.
Okay.
I said I gotta go to the bathroom, or I gotta pee, and I go.
15, 20, 25,
So I go right in the men's room.
40.
Dun dun dun. More dynamite.
Eric just went full Forrest Gump. I gotta pee.
Yep. Yeah.
So that you make it into the men's room, you kind of open the door, the noise comes in with you, and 31 is washing his hands and immediately like looks over to you and then goes back to what he's doing. The door swings closed behind you, and you almost feel a sense of relief from
Yep.
the volume of the noise dropping. Like, again, while that whole place is awesome looking and the music is really hot and kind of popping, but now that you're in a quiet space, you feel that thing that I have to imagine like people from this time would feel, just like that's almost too loud. Like I just need to breathe and have a little quiet. So you almost step inside the door and you hear like kind of let out a sigh, and then you can do whatever you want to do. If you want to go in a stall, go to a urinal, just splash some water on your face, whatever you want to do in the men's room.
I'll go in the stall. The one
Well, actually, sorry,
closer to the urinal.
there's a closet and then two stalls, so this actually is the only stall. So
Okay.
so you pop into that.
I go
stall.
in there. I'll try to go, and that'll take at least one full round.
Yeah, and so sorry. Yeah, this is the closet. You did see it from the occupied, and you can hear rumbling and shifting in there. And you saw him kind of around the corner taking a piss as you went in, so you can see the other folks in there.
Yeah.
Again, none of them are standing out to you as anyone you recognize or not necessarily nefarious looking. And Oliver Ramos. So you're off in your corner, having checked out those two doors.
Wait, I didn't check the other side yet. I'm just gonna walk over to the other door and take a listen as well. Let's see what's happening there.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do the same thing as last time. The DC is even lower because you've kind of acclimated to the level of sound in here, and you successfully made it to the other guy. That was a die 8. And I'm going to check. Oh, look at all those dead people. Oop. I'm got my pants down. You hear voices. So you can't quite make it out as much as the other one. Maybe there's not quite as much chit chat, but the same thing. You're guessing at least 2 or 3 people, just the fact that there's a conversation going on.
But I can't hear what they're talking about.
No, still, if anything, this conversation is quieter than the last one. You're just guessing about the number of voices that you're hearing.
Okay. Let's
and to the label of the boxes is what the doors are labeled with. So both of these doors say private, do not enter. This one, I think it did too when I took the tile away.
I'm gonna go right back to that spot behind the plant.
Okay.
Poof in that direction and hope there's not someone just magically walking there now.
And check. You poof back where you were. They kind of do it with clairvoyance too. When you're going back to an exact spot you've actually like been before, you know it well. I mean, obviously, yeah, if there was a bartender walking right by, you might spliff right into him. But you pop in and there's nobody about. If anything, after this pop in, after the last pop out, you audibly hear number 36 sniffing the air. Kind of and he's sniffing and he's suspicious at first, but then he glances to the right at number 35. Number 35 catches him glancing. He's kind of like, what? And just 36 just faces forward and doesn't say anything, just again assumes his professional demeanor, and 35 again is like, what?
All right.
Who smelt it dealt it. Oliver Ramos, and then back to Blue Suit and Alma Dieter.
Well, Joe Boo is getting very anxious and needs to be released. So he bounces out, and Mike loses his bolster.
Okay.
He's like, I've been in there far too long. I can't be there anymore.
Who wants to hang with this freaking straight, weird ass, tight ass dude? Like,
I don't know. You did have a gin tonic or something, so you got a little bit of booze at least out of the.
yeah.
It wasn't rum, so that's what he's kind of looking for.
Yeah. He'll have to perch on my shoulder. I'll give him a little drab. So these guys are together. I'm going to walk on up to them.
Okay. So yeah, you walk over to these guys, and then I'll say like blue suit if you want to say whatever you want to do.
It's just gonna I'm just flat out be
It's
like,
coming after the conversation with you and
yeah, just fill in like she was here or she is here. She was here. We can't see her. I don't know if she has some sort of extra sensory, like she has the ability to do what all the Ramos can do. Like that's basically what I'm saying is like we know powers, we know this shit. Obviously, she is something different. So I'm flat out going like, she's here, shit's gonna go down, or shit has gone down. One of the two. There's a reason she's here, and basically I can't perceive her. So anything that you've got, you know, and continuing to be like, all right, like we got to find Oliver and see if he can find her, type of thing. Like basically, I'm grasping at straws at this point.
And Blitzman, you're with them now, so I'll just roll you into their actions and whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and she was also tapping her wrists as if, she was trying to say we're running out of time. So
or you're right on time. You don't know.
I don't
That's
know.
true. It is an interpretation. Her facial expression, while also difficult to see someone through the distortion of the tank, it didn't stand out as anything. It didn't seem like she was smiling or sneering or laughing or anything. It was just looking at you intently. And then, as I said, you were down here. This is roughly where you think she was standing. And then when you rounded the tank and you didn't see her there, you assumed she was sitting at this table. So that's the only other thing you saw.
Okay, and I am actively looking around, trying to see anything out of place.
Okay.
Obviously looking for her, but also looking for anything that might be out of place.
Yeah, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I mean, at least from here, you can see the spot where she was standing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just do perception check. And that one. So first off, you check the area where you're guessing she was standing, and your perception is enough. You do notice some ash on the railing and on the floor, and you can't really. I mean, I guess you could try taping a sample and try to type the tobacco from the ash, but I mean that would be a little bit of a stretch. Yeah. Someone else could have ashed here, but it does stand out. There's enough that you're thinking that's where she was standing. And when you look at the table, there are some things on the table. So if you go over to check the table, you find an unoccupied table, an ashtray shaped like a seashell with a little trident head sticking out of it to hold cigarette butts. And in that is the burnt end of a Rothandle cigarette. Like it's like the butt with a big thing of ash. Like someone left a cigarette out and it just burned down, and the ash is still intact because it's just sort of still laying there. Next to the seashell is a lighter and a half-drunk tequila sunrise cocktail, which is actually time accurate as a check. And underneath the cocktail is a cocktail napkin, which seems to have something on it.
Okay, which chair does it appear that was used while that cigarette was lit and the cocktail and everything?
You're guessing she was sitting in this chair here.
Okay, so I go around the table to the other side of the chair, right there. Yep. Nope.
Yeah.
No, yeah, on the not against the wall, but over there a little bit. There, right there. Yeah. And I put my hand on the back of both of those two chairs, kind of like so that if someone was sitting there, I would hit them.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't feel anyone there, then I reach for the napkin.
You check the area, and as you've seen from Oliver Ramos, and not all invisibilities are equal, but the invisibility in this game is kind of a shimmer. So if you know there is an invisible person and you check for some 5 foot square, if you're like that they're there, you'll notice the shimmer, or you should. So and you haven't noticed any of that around the table or in the chairs, but you do check. So you kind of tilt the chair to see if anyone's sitting in it. You kind of pass your hand around. You don't bump it in, someone's nose and hear "ow," or something like that. It does seem to be unoccupied. And from where you're standing, you have a pretty decent shot of the club, including you can see, sort of down to that lower platform and near where the door is and everything else. I mean, you would think this is a pretty decent place to sit. You got a good view of the downstairs. You can see this door. You can see anyone coming in, if not at least the actual door itself. You've got some good sight lines from this spot.
All right, I'm gonna sit in that chair and look at the napkin.
Okay.
As casually as I can.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of pretending like you're coming back to your table or whatnot. So there is a small cocktail napkin with the A7 logo on it, and the tequila sunrise, with its condensation pouring down. The napkin is wet, but there's something written under just the corner and onto the rest of it. You pull the glass away, and the ink is a little blurred, but you can easily make out the writing. It seems to be written in a very deep blue, like a stark blue fountain pen, and especially on a napkin, the fountain pen ink really bleeds out. And it says, "Pack some sandwiches." I mean, literally, like if you were going on a hike and someone said, "Don't forget to pack." Well, it just says, "Pack some sandwiches."
That's it.
That's it. It's written in kind of like a cursive writing, not sloppy. I mean, really kind of nice handwriting, a good cursive, and like a little exclamation point at the end. Yeah, the meaning doesn't immediately stand out or seem to speak to anything you've known about her or about you all so far. So you kind of puzzled to make note of it.
We're going camping, people.
I put the napkin in my pocket.
Are you sure it didn't say pork chop sandwiches?
Pork chop sandwiches? You're not cooking. This is we'll have to send out the video of that after through email. There's also the lighter there. If you examine it, it is a rather show me, don't tell me. Let me clear all. This is I'll do a knowledge check for you. I love my die 8s. I always explode on those. This is a circa late 1920s Dunhill gold. It's probably like a 9 karat gold. It's got a bit of weight to it. Art Deco watch lighter. So it's a lighter with a watch inset. The watch is displaying the current time exactly. And on the back of it is etched a symbol. It is a perfectly round circle with a line dividing it through from the middle. So a line bisecting a circle into two halves, just etched in. So there's no color or anything. And the whole back of the lighter is this sort of wavy scaled pattern, but roughly on the other side of the clock is kind of like a bare polished metal patch where you would etch someone's initials or logo or something, and just etched there is just this, and it is very precise and clean cut. It's almost too much. It's almost like if you watch something that's like laser etched, like only a computer can get that kind of precision. And as Mike will talk about getting a tattoo with circles in it, tattoo artists hate doing circles because it's so hard to get that exact curve all the way around. They always end up looking a little lopsided.
Concentric circles. Guy did the first one, and
Yeah,
then
concentric circles
and then 3
especially.
years later, he said, "Oh, I know why. I shouldn't have agreed to this." He's like, "I'm never doing any more concentric circles, so never come back to me."
Yeah, that was these. I was gonna say, a Green Lantern logo. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
did those two circles almost did him in. Other than that, it seems to be a functional lighter. It lights, so like this little cap flips up, and then there's a little striker that burns, and then you flip that cap back down to douse the flame.
Sure.
And then I mean you can see from the hinges here this plate actually tips out and gives you access to the back of the clock face so you can wind it and such. And I mean, there's a little bit of a compartment in there. I mean, even with the little backing to the watch, maybe you could fit some papers or some small things in there, but not like any object. And there is nothing in the compartment currently, but it looks like you could fit something in there. It's also got a little ring on it. You can put on a lanyard. And then this is like to open and access to refill and fuel. And the rest of it is nondescript. Any of the other etchings just appear to be normal manufacturer's marks. There's no other names or initials or anything other than that. Sorry. Except for on the bottom, there is etched, and this does seem to be more like a human being, like a jeweler actually etched it. Is the date June 28th, 1914, and I'll include that in the show notes, whatever the notes from today, June 28th, 1914. And as far as your knowledge, it doesn't stand out as any important date that you can recollect. Maybe it was someone's birthday or an anniversary or something. I mean, from the date 1914, maybe this was a watch given to her or someone else by their parent, and it's their grandparents' wedding anniversary gift or something. I'm not sure other than the date. And other than that, there doesn't appear to be anything else of interest at the table.
Okay. I obviously open the watch compartment and check to see if there's anything in there, and you said there isn't. I flip it over and run my thumb over the etching piece and kind of push on it a little, see if it's a button or anything weird like that.
Yes, I mean you kind of fidget and play with it, open compartments you can, unscrew things you can unscrew, twist things and whatnot, and you intentionally feel and press like for a Chinese finger puzzle kind of thing to see if any other plates slide and move, but nothing else seems to. The rest of it seems to be pretty nondescript.
Okay. I put the lighter in my pocket and I put the cigarette in a different pocket. The remaining cigarette. That's it, right? Just the one?
Yeah, just the rest of that one cigarette butt, and from your normal equipment, one of the things you have is like an evidence collection kit, and that doesn't necessarily have to be all in one bag. You probably have just little evidence bags in your pocket, just something to throw shit in.
Yeah.
I mean, you were handling the watch, but say you wanted to print it later, you could pick it up with a pen and drop it in there, or the cigarette butt, you could drop it right into one of these bags. So
Yeah.
it's not just rummaging around alongside your keys in your pocket or anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do that. I put the stuff in my pockets and get up from the table and look around as I'm doing so. I guess that's more than enough for me if you want.
Yeah, you're checking your
time.
stuff up. You kind of put it all away, and you went to go get up from the table, and actually standing right next to you is a woman, and you're startled for a second because you're kind of ruminating about this woman and where she is, where she went, what she got to, and you're focused so intently on our stuff and little gadgets. And when you look up and there's a woman standing there, you're jolted for a minute, but then you see it's just a waitress, and she's far too young, anyways. That doesn't seem to fit. But and she asks if you would like anything else to drink.
I tell her no, thank you.
Okay.
And
She turns around and heads back.
So point
I
of
half drunk.
just a point of Kurt, do I notice what's happening with Lars, or am I still?
Yeah. So when Lars moved up to you, I kind of put you all into the same kind of group, and even though you'd kind of still moved, you're basically there with him as he's doing this investigation at the table. So you're seeing what he's seeing, the evidence. You see, you bagged the cigarette butt, the lighter. You with the napkin. I mean, they're there, so you kind of hold it up, and he's like, "Bring sandwiches. What? Or pack
Yeah,
some sandwiches."
it's the lighter with the watch in it that is more of interest to me, as you know. But that's
Yeah, I mean, he's bagging the evidence, and he was checking it out. If you want to, wave him the hand.
no. Like that. It's not that part of it. I just want to make sure that I saw it. Not that Lars would keep anything from me. It's just that I saw it because then I'll know to call in some favors with. I mean, my secret identity is a watchmaker. I fucking know this. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah.
It has a watch on
I was going
it.
to say that there hasn't really been any loot. So this gold watch lighter was like the first bit of loot. And I was waiting for you all to like fall to rancor and just start fighting each other. Like, I wanted the loot. No, it's watch is mine.
Thank
I was
God
about to
that
say,
Taylor is not here.
Well, yeah, and then there was Taylor. I don't know, when I wrote the gold doubloons in the fish tank, I was like, here we go. He's just going to be trying to swim. I was waiting for him to turn into a fish, try to get up into the fish tank, swim to the bottom, try to grab the doubloons. Are they real doubloons? Are they mock-up doubloons? Can he try to pop one of the pasties off of the mermaid girls? But he didn't show up to the. I guess he has a friend that's going out of town. Today's the last day he can see him, or something like that. So, I'll say that's pretty much everyone there. Eric, if you want to, is there anything else you want to do in the restroom? You managed to take care of your business.
Yeah, I finish up in the restroom and wash my hands, and then I start up the stairs as soon as I leave the restroom.
Okay. Everyone else is
happy birthday twice while you wash your hands.
Sunk up. So you're kind of coming out of the stairs as you.
That was back on the 19th.
Are kind of heading roughly back to here. So they're coming back from the table. You're coming out from the stairs. Oliver, you just kind of poured it out, but you kind of see them all walking back to this spot. If you want to move over to them.
Yeah, I make my way over.
And you can essentially resync with whatever new information everybody has here. I'm obviously everyone's literally listening. I'm not actually putting everyone. That would be an interesting thing to actually like mute all the other people that didn't hear what's going on. I might have to do that for one of the combat sessions with the no radios going on. But essentially everyone now knows what. Yeah, you're all startled a little bit as Oliver Ramos starts talking, and then you see the blur, and you're like, oh crap, that's right. So you all know about the inside of the door and the different voices from there. You hear about the cigarette smoking woman, the evidence that you found, and Eric's romantic interludes on the first floor, and the disappointed woman who has not left yet, so he still has a chance to swoop her up on the way out if he's even able to with his bumbling words. Yeah, so you're sunk up at this point, so now you can resync and decide what you want to do, if anything.
Well, I think once we pool our data,
you've all kind of met back up. Oliver walked over as well and started talking to you all, so you know what he's seen on the inside, what he's heard, so you can all decide what you want to do next.
I was about to say, when we pool all of our data, I mean, we know cigarette smoking woman is here. We know that there is private do not enter area on this floor. So I think
the question
we need to
is,
go.
the question really is, was she trying to give us like, oh shit, you guys gotta get your shit together? Or, is that why
Or this
she
is the
appeared?
time I'm going to kill you, or
Right.
you've only got minutes to
Like,
live,
like,
or
like she's
the bomb
gone
goes off
now.
in 5
So
seconds.
obviously, like my point is, so I mean, so what do we know about her? We know that she shows up at certain locations. We see her. She's disturbed crime scenes. It doesn't mean she's the actual perpetrator of said. She could be this person that just is very interested in what we're doing, or we don't know if she's trying to help, I guess. But it looks like, for the way Lars described it, I'm going to say that she's trying to help us. Does that mean we just say fuck it and rush the door? Like this is what my character's trying to intimate, and then I will be quiet now.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
I think we need to finish investigating this place because I think it's more to it than that.
Well, we know dude is here somewhere if he hasn't been moved.
Right.
Yes, yeah. This is the last known place that he would have been held that you would think.
Would it make sense for Eddie to try to teleport into one of these two rooms to see if he's in there? Or is that too dangerous?
You mean the private rooms?
So he did make it to the middle room. He listened to the other two. He could teleport through the wall, but and because he's invisible, people wouldn't necessarily see him. But because he doesn't know what's there, he could be teleporting like into a chair or something, and getting bumped out of that is kind of a violent action. I can't remember if you're stunned for 1 round or something, but
it's not good.
Might drop or something like that.
So my thought is that this is the point where we say, so like all those cop movies when they're like, all right, well, we're by the book, we're by the book, we're by the book. But this is one of those gray areas of, okay, we have no search warrant, but someone's life is on the line and we know they're here, so we just say fuck it. And I know
they did say, investigate and go by if you have probable cause. They did clearly say you have some discretionary leanings to if you want to sneak into back rooms or behind the bar or lie to the bartender or something like that. So, the brass have given you that leeway. They did not say you've got to go by the book. You'll ruin the case or something like that. They said rescue. This is your best lead. Rescuing this guy is your primary course of action. If you got to bend the rules, and this is also. I mean, we're talking about did they really do that in the 30s? I think the further you go back, the more the good guys are going to bend the rules and beat up the bad guy with the phone book to get the the location of the suffocating person in the room with no air, something like that.
Right.
So,
This is the classic. The captain's pissed at you for breaking the rules, even if you failed, but he's like, "Good job, because I can't do that."
Yes, I mean, I stated that specifically because for Eric and Mike's characters, I didn't want you to be held back. Like, oh, I really don't know if we would be allowed to do that. They did give you that. I mean, you just don't want to go in as the police saying police, and kick the door down because then maybe file complaints. If you guys are in that area of undercover vigilante-ish, this is the place that this guy under signed confession said that they took him. So you just don't have enough for a search warrant. You have enough to act on if you want to figure out. So, like Eric said, ways of getting in there, how you want to approach.
Well, with Oliver Ramos updating us that there are 2 rooms and one of them has a room with at least 4 people that are kind of boisterous, I'd recommend that we block that door entirely and try to keep everybody in that room and then try to look at the other room first, if that makes sense.
My worry is they try to kill the guy.
But I just have a feeling like we want to split it, like separate and search versus leaving that escape route open so that people can come after us where we might be able to contain them.
So I guess the question is how first, I know Oliver can get in the middle room. How do the rest of us get in there? What's the plan? Is it some sort of distraction? Is it, you know, a distraction that's not like, hey, where the cops here busting you down? Like, I'm not gonna just throw my light bomb down in the middle of a crowd and make everyone go like cause chaos that way, because then people are gonna think something's up. Um,
So in theory, I can teleport an ally. I'm not sure if that extends to the whole party.
no, I get you
Well, I
there.
think you can do it one at a time. Well, actually, it's the same rules. So you just do a multi-target; it would just be disadvantage.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just did one at a time, I think you don't have to, because I think that's actually the way it's written.
If it's one at a time and I don't have to roll for it, then I mean, we could all weirdly go to the bathroom together, and then I can floomp you guys into the room.
Yeah, so teleport, the description is you are able to instantly move yourself or an ally from one place to another, either by stepping into blah, 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 however you describe it. At 5, your teleportation range is unchanged, but you can now teleport your target to spaces that you can't see. If you choose an unoccupied space, your target lands. Well, if you choose an occupied space, your target lands in the nearest adjacent space. Roll randomly, and the target is stunned for 1 round. So yeah, you could do everyone at once at disadvantage, however many people it is, or you could do one at a time, and it just happens. The range in this case would be from where they were standing to where you want them to stand. So I'll get the range tool back out. And as far as, I mean, you do it's like your typical like intelligence check, whatever that is. You tend not to think that they would kill if they have Martin here and they know you're coming. You don't think they're going to kill him like out of spite or to stop you getting him, because of the amount of trouble they went through to get him, and his thing with the lab, and you think it's the information that they're trying to get out of him. If anything, you know, when you step in the room, maybe they're standing at the other end with a gun to his head and they're gonna try to bluff or maybe even threaten to kill him if it's that between him and going to jail. But you don't think it's gonna be like as soon as you bust in the door, they just blow him away to stop you from getting him. That's at least your feel.
I have the ability to teleport as well, but I'd have to roll for it.
Yes, and just style-wise, yours is kind of you kind of like run and blur through the wall. So I would think, unless you were going into like one of these rooms, if you're trying to do it like through the door, they would see you there doing it. Whereas he's invisible, and you know anyone would see you disappear in a puff of smoke, but you know you'd try to look for a time when people were distracted or not looking. But and then too, and sorry, with the 30 movement, you would probably want to try to put them closer to the middle of the room rather than right at the edge to give yourself a little bit of a leeway of error. But you know, however you want to play with this, you know, where you want to stand.
How much does that plant obscure the other side of it? Is it like your standard, just like if we were just standing there like leaning against the wall, drinking, blah blah blah, and then poof, one goes missing? Is it just
no? We could go to the men's bathroom.
Yeah, I was thinking downstairs.
No, you're
go up through it.
Go up
no,
through.
No. Your distance is only 5 feet.
He said the roof was low. He said the roof we could almost touch it. He could shoot us up through the bottom.
That is possible too.
It is directly below.
The distance for his power is 30 feet. So.
And it's like you figure it's like 8 feet to touch the ceiling. You give another 2 feet for concrete and whatever. That's 9 feet. That's easily he could put us up there.
That's. I mean, granted, it's you're not knowing this exactly, but you know if you're walking the paces, you can roughly tell this is what you're looking at.
Yeah, but even if it's like at an angle where he was like, I know it needs to go.
You could, it doesn't
may
have
fall
to be directly
2 or 3 feet and go ow, but like you can roll that based upon his teleport roll as to what happens if we make a noise or something. But I mean, that to me seems like I think Eddie's on point with that one.
And I think because of Boone Focus, he doesn't have to.
The only problem is that all Meditas are woman.
There you go. Well, I mean, and to be fair, this is what I wanted this to be. I want it to be like, how are we going to sneak in there? And there's any number of different ways, and that's supposed to be the fun of the thing. So that was actually that was an interesting idea, doing it from the bathroom up instead of the door or the side over, and then the Almadita having to go into the men's room thing too. So again,
Yeah, you guys just
Eddie
go in
has
there and clear
Boone
that place
Focus,
out
so
for
as
me.
long as he's only doing one of you at a time, he does not have to roll. It's an automatic success.
And the thing is, he doesn't go with us. He just points and moves us. Can you use that offensively? Can you be like, I teleport someone?
You can't do it against
No,
me.
yeah.
It says an ally. Believe me, when I made my character, I definitely thought of that. Porting people outside of windows and stuff like that. But
They have to be a willing participant.
And someone asked about the plan. So the plan is, it's a little more one of those like pieces of coral with the little bubbles of the little sea life where the whole surface of it is a tiny little hole and the little things filter stuff out. So a couple of you could stand off to the side and maybe not get noticed, but if all 6 of you were huddling here, I mean, they are scanning the room. A couple of you could drift over and maybe try to pop one in, but he could look over and notice you.
I think it'll be easy enough for Alma to come in with us if it's the group of us, kind of like, oh, we all have to pee at the same time. If it's just a look around, no one's gonna really, unless there's somebody in there, and then if there's somebody in there, we'll just
just ask him to leave. Just say sorry. This is
like,
occupied.
she's
Yeah, you did come in as a couple.
You can just walk into a stall and then I'll just poof.
Yeah, exactly.
The presumption of, so I've been rewatching Burn Notice because it's on Amazon Prime.
Such a good show.
It's such a fantastic show, but like it's always all I'm
Love
hearing
that
now
show.
while we're doing this is Michael Weston saying like the easy part of being a spy is you just walk in like you own the place. That's all I'm thinking about right now.
Yeah. I think that is a lot of it.
People are not willing to question because it's so good.
Now I'm gonna have to go back and watch it again.
It's great for painting because I've already seen it, so I can paint and watch.
Yeah, well, in general, it's such a good throw it on in the background type of thing. Oh, whoops! I grabbed my little. Okay, all right. So everyone's heading downstairs then.
Yes, that's the plan, right? Is everyone on board?
Yep.
Let's go to the bathroom. Yep.
Let's do it.
Let's go. Do number 2.
All right. I'm gonna say, well, he is long gone. He left, and someone else is in this stall.
On the way down, do I notice that bartender that left the first time? Is he around?
Oh, good call. Actually, and you're the first one to ask. Yeah. Die 8s are my favorite. I always roll 8s on the die 8s. You do see them standing at the downstairs bar, and the other person seems to be walking around talking to someone else. So, yeah, that person, you do see them, notice them on the first floor bar.
All right, cool.
All right, so we'll take it that you're all standing outside. Oliver's still invisible, hovering somewhere outside here. If you want to describe how you're going to enter the bathroom.
I'm gonna need someone to open the door and pretend like they're gonna go
Yeah.
piss.
So
You don't necessarily know who's in there, but
seeing as how Eric's already been in, not that it makes a difference, but he would be able to recognize if the same person's still in there, grunting one out or whatever. I would say Eric.
Yeah, I'll go in first.
Yeah, Eric, then Lars, then Alma, and I'll come from behind.
Who does number 2 work for?
Exactly.
Eric, then Lars, then Alma. And what you said, Oliver Ramos in between. I mean, if you're going
Yeah,
in.
you can put Oliver with Alma.
Yeah. And then are you kind of going all in a row, or are you kind of spacing it out, 2 heading in and the others going in, or?
I guess it's the scan around to see who's actually. It doesn't seem like these bouncers give a shit. From what we've surveyed here, no one seems to really care about what's going on outside here. You don't have these armed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So the bouncers' behavior, other than what Eddie noticed about them being very procedural with the door, these bouncers are acting more like normal nightclub bouncers rather than bouncer plus, where the bouncers where they really know this is an illegal facility and they're really keeping an eye out,
Right.
or they have guns or anything like that.
So my point is as I'm going Michael Weston on this and saying fuck it, we'll just like boom, boom, like we're just procedurally doing this after surveying and making sure no one's looking. I mean, it's not like it's a big deal. Maybe there's some drunk dude that's like, oh look, they're gonna go have a party. Let me go see what's in the bathroom. But at this point, like my opinion, I say we just do it.
Okay.
Unless someone has a
everyone, give me a 1 die 20 just for flavor.
Okay.
And in these cases, it's a high or low isn't necessarily bad. It's all with the numbers.
15.
7.
2.
5.
13. Lucky number 13.
13. Okay. And you're all, I mean, you're kind of hanging together. You're kind of spaced a little bit. And all the teachers kind of hanging back. All are almost floating in the thing. Okay, so you're all lined up. You're ready with your operation. You're kind of scanning the room. Shooting Star is ready to go into the men's room when Karen comes out of the women's room. Hey! You tried to get away from me. How's it going? And then she sees Blitzman standing behind you as well as this whole kind of crew, and she's like, oh my god, are you guys on a sting or something?
I will say, I can't get into that. I'll talk to you later. And I walk in the bathroom.
So this is why
It's about as close as I can come to not blowing it.
Can I interject or no?
You're there.
Okay.
Well, he kind of talks before he can say anything and just walks in.
I got him.
She kind of stops and's like, "Hey!" And then because you were standing, the rest of you were with him. She kind of, "Hey, what gives?"
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll just look at her and I go, listen, miss. I'll just say, miss. Said there is something very important going on here, and if you do us all a favor, I'll make sure that we commendate you for helping us out. If you can just.
Okay, give me a persuasion check.
I'm glad I put points into persuasion now.
I think what I have to do is check every one of your skills, and then for every one of you have like a top 3 worst skill, and then push that on you.
Guess what exploded? Oh, I have some bad skills. I don't have any of the extraordinary stuff. And 36.
I think that'll do it. She takes it well. She's kind of like, she's trying to be subtle, but she's so not being subtle, but still she's taking what you're saying to heart, like, I got you, and then starts walking back over to the bar where she was sitting before.
Right, yeah, it's all about making her feel important, but don't fuck this up for us. Yeah, the only reason why I took persuasion, just so people know, is like I've been using that a lot, and my character's been using a lot of that. It's like persuasion. It's just like it's presence. It's not persuasion. It's presence. So
yeah, presence.
Presence is what I use in regards to like a lot of the time.
Reading kind of self-help books on how to assert yourself.
So basically, because I use that all the time with I'm a cop, blah blah blah. And Kurt's like, didn't work. It worked a couple times, didn't work. So I used my experience points to up that attribute. So that's the story wise.
Making the most of it.
Okay, so while that's going on outside, actually, I might as well zoom in, help everybody's eyes out. Eric, you come inside. You're kind of a little too flustered with that. You kind of walk right past the stalls. You didn't even check if any were occupied. You notice the guy at the sink and the guy at the urinal, and they're again kind of look up and look at you, and well, they were different guys from the last time. So again, they just kind of look at you and then go back to what they're doing. What do you want to do? You're kind of standing in the middle of the bathroom now.
Yeah, as you said, I was flustered. I just kind of move up to the far corner of the urinals and pretend like I'm going.
Okay. And Blitzman, you step inside and you see the scene, although you do notice the stall one is occupied.
Okay, so
We need the urinal space anyway if we want to be perfect or near the sinks. Right? Or yeah.
what's that?
We want to be near the urinals to go up correctly, right?
What I'll do is
Fair enough.
shift this all over once you get in there. Like right now, you're kind of looking around the room. You're looking for people watching you. You're stepping through. You're watching these guys. It's kind of like once you get the room to yourself, then you can kind of start looking at the ceiling and doing estimates for distance
Gotcha.
and stuff. It's kind
Okay.
of hard when this guy's in there watching you. For now, it's you just want to move over to the sink.
Yeah.
So you're washing your hands. You're like eyeballing this guy doing the
Washing my
Thor
hands.
stare down.
Washing my hands, kind of just darting a few looks here and there, you know.
Okay. And then, I mean, Oliver, you can pretty much follow in one of these two, but Blue Suit or Alma Dieter, this is the moment. So how are you going to get Alma in the room? Just go for the gusto or make some...
Well, I was thinking I could wait at the front of the men's door and prevent people from going in.
Sure.
Like, oh, sorry, I'm waiting for somebody. You know, do you mind waiting out here? I'm just going to go in to check on them. After all the other people have gone
as a
out.
woman, you could say that if you're going with that line, you would probably say like, "Hey, the women's stalls are all full. The men's room was completely empty. I let my girlfriend run in to use the stall. I'm stopping all men coming in until she comes back out." That kind of thing.
Perfect. Exactly that.
Okay.
I was thinking if it was a guy, you're not really stopping a guy from coming in. Okay, so you're kind of hanging back. You don't know
I'm
if there's
preventing new participants from entering the men's room until we can clear it out.
Yeah. All right, so Blue Suit, you head in, and Oliver Ramos, you can tailgate him in with the door being open.
Yeah.
And where do you want to go in the men's room?
All right. So there's two people in that one. Well, we don't know that. Oh,
Well, this is actually the women's
yeah,
room.
sorry. Now I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just uncovered it because otherwise it would never be uncovered.
Yeah, that's fine.
At least you got the joke of the two people banging in the last stall.
So, I mean, I'm basically
you plant
as I
these little
walked
things
in,
under like 4 panels, and then everyone's like, "We're not going to go in the women's room." It's like, God damn it!
basically the walk-in is to assess how long it's going to take the asshole in stall 1 to grunt one out. I'm going to walk in and then walk into stall 2, close the door, and drop my goggles, put my mask up, and pull out my gun and my Schlagstock.
Okay. In all this time with him and Han, 31 pretty much finishes washing his hands and walks out and starts walking back over towards the bar. He gives you, Almadita, a little bit of a glance on the way out, like you're hanging by the door. He almost pauses, like, "You waiting for me?" And you're not waiting for him, and he just kind of tries to play it smooth and keeps on rolling, kind of snaps his fingers and keeps walking. Is a little
Keep
bit of
on
a
moving.
letdown. 32 starts walking over to the sinks. He's kind of thinking it's getting a little bit crowded in here. Oliver Ramos, is there any place you want to move from there?
Yeah, I'm just gonna move towards the urinals.
Okay. Also, I mean, he's pretty much still washing his hand. Let me roll and see how this guy, if he has been eating his fiber. So he flushes, walks out. He kind of hesitates. There's kind of a lot of people. He's not so sure about that. He walks all the way down to the end and goes down and starts washing his hands. At this point, it's getting to be you're kind of loitering a little bit. Blitzman, you're washing your hands. 32 is finishing up. He's kind of going to dry his hands. Is there anyone want to change what they're doing or move to a different position or do something different? Basically, you've all been standing in your own positions. Like Lars, you've been washing your hands for a little while, so you don't know if you want to play into like, no, you really got some stains on your fingernails or something, or getting a stain out of your coat, or you want to pretend you're drying your hands or go back to the urinal.
I'm in
I
a
don't know, that's happened to
so
me. You wash, you didn't piss, you wash your hands, it was warm water, and all of a sudden you gotta piss.
No, I'm gonna. Where's the spot they had dry your hands over by the door?
They have one at either end. There's like a little receptacle with it's one of those the towels, where you pull the towel out and it goes in a big circle.
I'm gonna very casually, kind of leisurely walk over behind number 33 and dry my hands there.
Okay. Eric, you still letting it go, or trying to get
I'm
over
just
the
staying
nerves,
there.
getting the stream going because you just went.
He's
I
still sitting there going,
kinda-
nope, 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 nope,
I
nope,
use
nope,
the
nope.
chrome of the urinal to try to see behind me to see if the guy's moved yet. And I can see that at least one person is still there, so I stay there.
Okay. 32 goes to dry his hands, exits, and then starts walking up the stairs. Same thing. He notices. Actually, it'll be this one. He notices Alma Dieter standing there, and he looks, but he doesn't have the confidence to give you any kind of a hey there. He just sees you're not moving, so he keeps on going. 33 turns around from washing his hands to try to dry. He's drying his hands. You do that kind of polite shuffle to the side. But he notices you're kind of still loitering kind of around the hand dryer, and he gives you a look.
I don't do the polite shuffle.
Oh no, so you're doing the alpha male, like, this is my dryer, go get your own.
That's right. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he turns around to go dry his hands, and you're like assertively, this is my dryer.
Like,
kind of
I've got the
find your
whole thing. I'm using it, and I'm taking my time. Yeah.
He
right.
steps to here and kind of looks back, but then continues on and goes to here and dries his hands. And you started before him, so he's drying his hands. And what do you want to do from there? You just keep.
I finish drying my hands and start walking toward him.
Okay.
Menacingly.
So I slowly walk up behind him and say, "You're done. Get out."
Okay. Let's see. We'll do either presence or persuasion.
Presence. 15.
That's enough. He had finished drying. He kind of turned around and looked at you, and you give him the stern, like, you're done, you're out of here. And I mean, in his eyes, you just see heartbreak. He thought you were coming on to him, but it was so the opposite. He's really like, God damn it! Like, I imagine being gay back in the day when you can't really be out in the open unless you almost have to go by those little subtle cues, or like, no, or like, are you in? Are you in? And then you got to broach that, like, are you actually in? And then how, with the fear of someone else going like, no, I'm not fucking in, I'll kill you. So like, that just happened to him in that moment. As much as it's on duty, he like now thinks he's going to be taken on back and beaten up.
Honey, he had his goddamn pants around his ankles.
My ankles.
Okay, so he goes out. I grab the door as he leaves.
Yep.
And I'm just gonna like kind of stand, like here, and kind of shuffle Amadita in and close the door behind us.
Let's do a little swap action, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna stand just enough room for her to get by, kind of thing, and have her come in, and then I'll go in after her and close the door.
Is there,
Okay.
Kurt? So there's no like cupboard or something under the sink. I mean, it's older, like for like a cleaning person's in there, like a sign for like, you know. Hey,
There is this closet here.
all right. Can I?
Yeah. Well, so I mean, that's what you're asking about. So if you looked
Like a
around,
sign.
there's nothing under the sinks. They're just like
Right,
pedestal
yeah.
kind of sinks. But there is a closet marked. The door is it's not a great lock, but it's locked.
I have a
You might
lockpick
try to
gun.
pick it.
I have my
What's that?
lock. I have my lockpick gun.
Yeah. Or wasn't it your gloves?
My gloves. Sorry, my gloves. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got like the little blades
Little
that pop
blades
out
in it
so
that
you
I
can
can
pick
pick the
locks.
lock. Yeah.
Okay, so you just make an agility check, and I think you get bolstered with that.
Yes, I do.
It's not a difficult DC. They're not holding the crown jewels in here, just the bleach and the ammonia and whatnot.
And the sign that says "Keep the fuck out." That is a 29. Oh no, I'm sorry. Not a
would do it.
29. Minus so subtract 9, an 18. Sorry.
Yeah, that's still plenty.
I'm gonna
The
walk
door
over to
opens,
Oliver and
and
just
it
be like, "Hey,
does
pop me
have
upstairs."
What's that?
I was gonna say I walk over to Oliver and just say, "Hey, pop me upstairs before anyone comes in." Then
Poof.
you don't need to worry about keeping people out, right?
We'll even go back. We can start doing some of the transports, but in there you find cleaning supplies, extra toilet paper, whatnot, and you do see one of those little split signs, and it says something like pardon our inconvenience, and it has like a little cartoon character Poseidon kind of bending over and puking on the ground while he's holding his trident.
Just-
With the little A7 logo up in the corner. It's the kind of thing you would set outside of a bathroom door to say, like, we're cleaning the
More
bathroom.
importantly, to that's important. Does it have a wedge to keep the door open?
It does.
So we're gonna wedge it to keep the door closed once putting that on.
Okay. So I guess Blitzman would come inside.
If everyone's okay with that.
Yeah, no, yeah. So
Totally.
You place the sign on the outside, you wedge the door from the inside. Drop you all over here. You can get your scale going.
And then I think those poor bastards who need to use the bathroom and shake my head.
They just pop the seal and they're going. So now that you have some breathing room, you can kind of adjust and get the space. You do your rough numbers so you can get the angle down. So if Oliver is concentrating in a prime position, he can essentially teleport everyone up to the space. You've got it figured out. You have been here. You've seen it from the outside to gauge the distance. You're doing them one at a time, so you don't have to roll. But let's just, for fun, let's just do one die 20 roll for each of them. Just for the fun. If you get a 20 or a 1, maybe you will something funny will happen.
Who is rolling?
Oliver, because he's doing the teleport. Well, I guess we'll do it with each one, and when you go, you can give an agility check, just in case you appear, 1 inch off the floor and catch yourself falling or something.
So he's just doing a teleport roll, right? Whatever his teleport power level is.
He essentially doesn't have to roll. I'm just having him roll for fun or flavor. Maybe if he does a really bad roll, one of you will feel nauseous from all the sulfur.
Well, you're all gonna get a trip. This is unfortunately gonna reveal some story, but
oh yeah. So I think Almadieter came running up first. So you're in a prime position.
oh, fun.
So go ahead and roll to teleport her. You're gonna try to put her up here.
I got a 15.
And I'm guessing you're telling them too, like once they arrive, to like back away to the corner, so you're not teleporting them into each other.
Yeah.
So you go ahead and do your roll. Mike Scott, do your agility check.
I rolled 15.
15? No problem. I'm not. It's a free roll, so I'm not going to screw you over. But anytime we can
6.
tell some fun stories. What would you have there?
I rolled a 6.
6 for agility, and actually give me a fortitude check too.
Oh, actually, wait. Is it agility is it just a naked 20 or is it
Oh,
agility
no, it's
with the
actually
1
an
by
agility
6?
check. You can roll the other die you have.
7.
Okay, that's great. And then
And the
fortitude?
Fortitude is 13.
I'd like to go last.
Okay, 7 and 13. And we'll go through and do the rolls for everybody, and then we'll go through what it seemed what happened. So shooting star, or sorry, blue suit said he's going to go last. Who's next?
I'll go next.
Okay, brave soul.
I'm going to be back in 2 minutes while you guys finish up this one.
Yeah, and yeah, same thing, agility and fortitude.
My agility was a 15, and let's see, fortitude was an 11.
All right. And next, oh yeah, Blitzman next.
Yeah. So agility.
This is really cool. I didn't
Is,
even think of
21?
this using the bathroom. You said 21?
21 for agility
Like a cat.
and 11 for fortitude.
Possibly a puking cat. And the blue suit. Wait. And then, yeah, for yourself, I'm not even gonna have you roll. You've especially since you've been transporting all them, you finally got it down. So the blue suit, agility and fortitude check.
Gotcha. Fortitude is shit. We'll do agility first. $22 on my agility. Fortitude.
Like a cat.
Fortitude was 8.
8, possibly a puking cat. Okay, so Oliver Ramos is, you might even think like, wow, if someone could teleport, you'd all train together. You would have thought maybe you would have had like exercises where he would teleport you all through a door or something. Granted, his teleport wasn't as good quite back in the day, but this is a first time. So describe what it is like for these fine ladies and gentlemen as they are teleported by you for the first time.
I don't know if you guys know like Warhammer 40k lore
I do.
in
Some.
any way, shape, or form, but it's essentially like traveling through the warp void, I think is what it's called.
The Chaos
Or-
Void?
Yeah, where it essentially
Gargling
feels
up.
as if your body, mind, and spirit is ripping apart molecule by molecule. It starts with like what sounds like wind that gets stronger and stronger until you start noticing that it's not wind, it's actually screams. The little bit of, I mean, it's mostly pitch black on the way there, but the little bit that you do see is like a slight shimmer of a face in agony or crying or weeping. It's generally terrible. It doesn't smell good. The sulfur now extremely rotten, and then it all kind of disappears as you land on the other side.
And
Sorry, I missed that. Something about going through a devil's portal, I'm guessing.
It's like I
It's
don't
the
know how much
devil's
you know
anus.
about Warhammer
More or
40k,
less.
but it's like if you ever play Vermintide 2, it's more than likely when you're going through like Nurgle rot and dealing with all like this, like it's black, but what you do see is just like decay, strong decay, and your senses, and you're getting ripped apart molecules. So it's like painful, and it's not not a lovely experience at all.
All right. I say, Oliver, I am so sorry, man. You have to do that every time.
So
I don't know
he
what you mean.
teleported each of you up to the center of the room, and everyone kind of picked a direction they were going to move to just get out of the way of the new person arriving, and you timed this out with Oliver showing up towards the end. As you all pop in, too, you are in this room. You didn't bump into a door or half into a wall or anything, but you're not all perfectly, if maybe it's just a millimeter before your feet fall and hit the ground, some it's maybe a couple inches, you kind of drop and catch your balance. Alma Dieter lands. The experience wasn't pleasant, but you feel okay. You don't feel sick or anything, but you do stagger as you land and kind of jitter and fall over towards the end, and you literally bump into that corner on the far side, making a little bit of a thump. Blue suit, you land. It's like you teleport. You land like almost midair, but you feel it. You land, and you like a cat just on your feet, and you absorb the sound, and you land perfectly, like absolutely deck style, like the when the person jumps off the vault and does the thing at the top, and then you immediately puke on the floor.
You stuck the landing, but tossed your cookies.
Stuck the landing, tossed your cookies. You are able to recover and at least get out of that position, but you left this kind of bowl of puke here on the ground just between where Alma Dieter and Oliver Ramos are. Shooting Star, you land okay. You're a little jaunted off, but you catch yourself. You do feel really nauseated, but you kind of catch yourself, and as you walk to the corner and kind of put your hands gently on the walls just to feel yourself like, I'm not moving, it's quiet in here, just breathing. Laura, same thing. You appear in the end, you perfectly land yourself and get over against the back wall without making any noise, but you also feel extremely nauseated, and it's almost like you're trying to overcompensate as though it were motion sickness by just holding onto the wall and letting your inner ear adjust. But you realize it's not that your inner ear felt you or you were spinning. Your inner ear was ripped out of your ear and into a million molecules and then put right back together. And the same thing, you're just kind of breathing. And when Oliver Ramos kind of peers in before you, as much as he is this invisible shimmer, you're kind of looking at him and almost not speaking, not even whispering, just mouthing like, dude, what the fuck? Like, I don't want to learn how to. You actually have thought about your lightning powers, like branching out. Do you want to get into like lightning teleports? And you're having second thoughts. Maybe it's different. Maybe not all teleports are that way, but if it's anything like that, it's that time when you were in the lab and you remember you were on the other side of the room. You don't know if time changed or if you ran really fast or teleported, but it was nothing like that. But you all kind of gather yourself and give yourself a moment. Alma Dieter, you're kind of frozen in place and watching the doors because you made a bit of a bump. And when the other people, when you all appear and you start to gather yourself, you notice that Alma Dieter is kind of darting eyes between the rest of the doors. And when Blue Suit puked, he made a little bit of a noise too. So you're also kind of paused on sitting on walking on eggshells. You're not sure what's about to happen next or if anyone heard you. You don't have your ear against the door, so you can't hear the conversations, but you don't know if it's quiet because you can't hear it or because they all stop talking and they're all walking towards the door. So you're all trying to recover, you're trying to pull yourself together and keep quiet, and you're almost ready for these doors to open. And we'll stop there.
I want to whisper to Oliver, never again.
Joe Boo looks at you and is like, dude.
I was gonna say Alma's gonna have like a. She's not gonna like me.
In your head, Jobu is looking at you. He's kind of like, I mean, you two can communicate without speaking, and it's not just telepathy. There's also, it's more of a rapport than a telepathy. You can kind of see each other's facial expressions. And he looks at you half like, dude, what the fuck was that? The other half was like, I don't know if I want to travel with you anymore if you're going to be taking me through places like that. He's not sure he's even seen anything like that, and he's been around more than a little guy you think would. And well, I guess if Taylor ends up showing up.